Yo, 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 fragrance friends. How's it going, everybody? Hope that everybody's doing great out there. I am so sorry for being on here so late. I know that I'm supposed to be on here about 6 p.m. I did the old trick. I did the old thing where I really messed myself up. You see, when when I plan, I plan something out in my head, and then I plan to do it. It's hard to explain. Hey there, Anthony. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Hope that everybody's doing all right out there, smelling great. Thank y'all for popping in. I'm so sorry for being here late. Hey there, Gamiel. Hey, bud. What's going on? How are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I did a lot of yard work. Got myself really tired. Pretty exhausted. I streamed some on Twitch. I've been doing lots of things. I've been keeping up my Instagram. Uh, you know, I'm into all kinds of hobbies and things. So again, thank you all so much for popping in, and please forgive me for being on here a couple hours late. Again, I'm a funny person. If y'all have an explanation for this, maybe psychological, maybe you can help me out. So when I plan ahead to do something, in which I really like to plan, but sometimes it's in this mood where if I preemptively think about it, and there's also like a time constraint because I did a live, I did something else before this, and then I would have had to switch right on here to YouTube. Then I think about the next thing I have to do, and I do this sometimes with my texting. It doesn't always happen, but then I sometimes jump, and so I'll skip a word in my texting. Here I skip to the next thing I wanted to do. So here I am, and then I remembered. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I almost missed the live." So yeah, how's everybody doing? Good to see you, Gam. What's your scent of the day, everybody? I'm wearing Amber Ginger Lover by Azaro and Guerlain the L'Homme Ideal, the EDP version, the one with the cherry, the smoky cherry. I'm wearing both of those. I have my reviews coming, but I have to tell y'all that Guerlain, some people said it didn't have the best performance. It's actually kind of bad performance, especially for something that's supposed to be an EDP. I'll I'll tell that we'll talk all about that in the full length review, but it smells good. I'm still not too unhappy with the purchase. I still think I'm going to keep it and still enjoy it, but because even a lighter performing fragrance has a purpose in a collection, but it's not what it should be. Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Cologne is nice though. You got the cologne one. How's that working for you? What's the performance on like that for you? I'm wearing the EDP, the cherry one. So good to see you, Anthony. Good to see you, everybody. Okay, so what's new? Did y'all have a good week? I did get that haul. I'm gonna have some unboxings for y'all on Instagram. I have Oud Leather, a full size bottle of that. What else did I get? I got that Bentley Momentum Intense, I believe it is. It's supposed to smell like CH Mid Privé, but have better performance. And I think there's something else that eludes my memory right now. So I'm happy that that came in. I haven't been buying too many cheapies or some really good designers, so those will be upcoming. They're really nice. I have some really big thoughts on the Amber Fever. It is nice. It is good as people say, but there's something I think that needs to be said about it that for some reason nobody else has been talking about it. Nobody else has been talking about it. And I think it's really important to say regarding that fragrance, and it's going to help a lot of people. Again, I'm not the end all be all of all fragrance reviewers, but I can't see why other fragrance reviewers didn't notice this about Ginger Lover, and I'll be talking about that a little bit. So, Anthony says it's amazing, 4 to 6 hours, good performance. Yeah, 4 to 6 will definitely get you by. That's not bad. I was surprised. Maybe it's my skin. It was a hot day and it did project a good bit, but like the Amber Fever, I can still smell it like inches. It's still projecting. It's more sweet. It has the same almost synthetic sweet accord that's in my what's that fragrance? Paco Rabanne Pure Excess Night. I'm not sure if that's the amber wood or if it's some Tonka synthetic note. And on my arm here, it was gone like after 3 hours on my skin, maybe even less. Completely gone, and it was after 20 minutes or so. The Guerlain, the L'Homme Ideal EDP wasn't project. After 30 minutes, it wasn't even projecting; it was gone. So Anthony, yes. I'm happy that you're enjoying that one, though. Oh, you retracted it. You're about to say something. Anyways, and has everybody had a good week? What new fragrances have y'all been getting yourselves into? Let me try to pull up Fragrantica here real quick. Again, if you want to see more of me, let's see here. I do, outside of fragrance, I am Jimmy Jam Jim on Twitch, and I've been streaming some odd video games if you are into video games, but this is a fragrance channel, of course. So what have y'all, which fragrance have you been getting into? I have a lot of, I do have a lot of samples and some top fives. Have y'all been missing top fives? Have I been giving a good balance of content? Have I been giving enough top fives or top tens? Or am I striking a good balance? I always wonder if I'm striking the right balance of content for everybody out there. I try to do a little bit of something for everybody. So, anyways, let's see here. Let's pull up the new fragrances. And again, I'm really excited. I got the bottle in, but I still haven't even unboxed it. But I'm excited for that Oud Leather by Montal. Supposedly it's like Tuscan leather, but without the raspberry. And some people say it has a certain freshness to it. So I already have Rasasi La Yukawam, which smells really close to Tuscan leather. And I'm hoping it has a twist on it. And I'm a big, big fan of leather, so I'm excited about that. There's some new Creed collections. They're making an Aqua Original collection. So they're making some fresher cologne versions. And this is a more affordable line that comes in a more affordable bottles. There's the Aqua Original. It's called Citrus By Grade. There's the Green Neroli and the Zest Mandarin. I'm not sure. Are these just repackages? Or are they... I think they were fragrances that already existed, and now they're being modernized and made a little bit more affordable. I'm not sure about the Aqua Original, but I want to say I've heard of the Zest Mandarin. Some people say it's similar to Boise Portugal. I'll have to smell it. I'll have to see what that's about. That's interesting. Again, I don't have too much excitement for Creed, but I'm sure there's going to be. I mean, I like orange, so Zest Mandarin's probably not bad. Probably just too expensive, especially in the boutiques for what it is. Let's see. Anthony says, my last purchase, Tom Ford's Noir Anthracite. How is that fragrance working for you, my friend? That one is challenging for some, polarizing for some. It is nice. It's a bit daring for some people. I do find it gothic. It does have almost a concrete-like vibe to it to me, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all, but it's not for everybody. A lot of people, when they get a fragrance, they expect it to be really fancy or really attractive or really mass appealing. That's what some people always expect out of a fragrance. And I've seen some people who have blind bought the Tom Ford's Noir Anthracite, and it's kind of funny to see that they think that is a really strange, unwearable fragrance, and that you can tell that they haven't really dived into niche. Again, not niche is not for everybody. You don't have to care about it, but we all of us have a different fragrance journey, and I just find that crazy or funny. Spark says, which Creeds do you own? I've reviewed quite a lot of them, but I really don't own, I think, any. I really don't. I reviewed some, buy and sell, and I share them from, bottles from friends and family. I'm not really a Creed person. I've been tempted to get some of their lavenders. I really like Royal Scottish Lavender. I'd love to have a bottle. I think Green Valley is one of their best. I think they should. I would have preferred it if they discontinued Green Irish Tweed and kept Green Valley. I think Green Valley is the better fragrance, which might not be a popular opinion. But nothing against Creed. There is that beautiful ambergris and some of their older fragrances with their DNA. But an Aventus was great when it came out. It was a game changer. But for the most part, most of Creed's fragrances aren't great for me. I do think Boise de Portugal is one of the best gentlemanly, respectable, refined fragrances out there. It's still fantastic. I think Spice and Wood is good, but it's not terribly original, and it's way overpriced. That's one of my more favorite Creed fragrances, but that's almost a fragrance I would only have in my collection if somebody gifted it to me, and I don't see anybody gifting me a fragrance like that and anything like that for any reason. So Maybe if I got married or something like that. But Michael says fragrance of the night is Confetto by Profumum Roma. Great. I've heard that's a really, really good sweet fragrance. Profumum Roma, great performance, pretty good house. Some fragrances are more wearable than others, but I do like Profumum Roma. I do think they're a good house. I forget what it's. It's like a sorrow. I always say it wrong, but they have a chocolate orange one, and really like it's supposed to be really strong, like an orange, bitter orange, and a bitter chocolate. And I really want to get my nose on that. Let's see here. Fritz DeCat, good to see you, Fritz. Thank you for popping in. It's a pleasure to have you join us. I know that I'm on here late, so sorry about that. Hopefully, you'll have a little bit of time to hang out with me today and have some fun. Do I need to move this mic? Is it in the way? Let me know if it's annoying or not. I'd be happy to move it if it's annoying or not. Hopefully, the audio is coming through really well. I certainly hope that it does. I played around with this darn thing to make sure it was close. So, Michael says, I ordered Petra today from Musc Milano, pricey per mil, but expecting good things. Is it a complete blind buy? Musc Milano does have some great fragrances. They have some real winners. Amber lovers, they got Tango. For those who like animalics and a dry tobacco, I got Monte Cristo. I love Monte Cristo. I probably would not mind having Kitsugi, a pretty darn good tea fragrance. I need to try the new Lost Alice, and I think there's might be one or two more of their newer fragrances that I haven't tried from Musc Milano. So there's quite a few winners. It's not the most expensive niche house, but they are. I think they come in 30 mils. So there's some older bottles I think that are a bigger size, but yeah, they don't go cheap. There are some bottles that pop up for a more affordable price on Fragrance by CA. Again, I'm not affiliated, but sometimes if you check some of these sites, you'd be amazed sometimes when certain niche fragrances pop up. I don't know how that happens, and sometimes you can kind of figure out which fragrances are. Some niche fragrances are almost being discontinued because some of the niche fragrances will creep into the gray market sometimes. So. Fritz DeCat says, I'm wearing Sunshine Man. I hope that's working good for you. That's definitely got a lot of personality, a lot of charisma, and you definitely got to have to pull it off. And Fritz, you're a cool guy. I'm sure that it's working magic for you. Everything's working well. Happy to hear that. I'm happy that the audio and the webcam and everything's working really well. So Michael says, a total blind buy, and I am thinking of getting Lost Alice too. Yeah, Lost Alice does look nice. I've heard some people say the performance isn't great on it, but it does look playful and fun. You live your life, but for me, I try to get samples. So if I know there's a fragrance that I want, usually a brand or a company will give you a couple complimentary samples, and if they don't, I try to buy if I ever do buy a niche fragrance, I always try to get a couple extra samples. And again, if I can go to a boutique or something, but I guess it depends on how much money you have. For me, blind buying a $200, $300 fragrance, something like that, is blind buying it is scary business. Even if I did my research and I've looked at the notes, so more power to you, Michael. I hope that it's everything you dreamed it was. Hope that it works out for you. Okay, so y'all want to talk more about the new fragrances of the week? Find any new releases? Is there any topic? Usually, I come into these lives with a topic, an idea, something we can talk about. I'm not really sure if I have a topic exactly that I want to bring to mind, but I do want to know if y'all would like me to do more community posts and reels. I have some big ideas for reels. I just want to know if y'all would be interested in watching those little short videos. If I was able to put my spin on them and put out some helpful content, nothing like me dancing. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm not going to put cat ears on and dance for you, but like TikTok. But I think I could, fragrance wise, nobody's doing it, and I think I'm going to try to. I mean, there's some people making reels, but they're not doing what I have in mind. So, giving you some information, making, short videos that are helpful. So Michael Stevenson says total blind buy. I am thinking of, oh, I already read that. Somebody else, let me know what you bought recently, which fragrances you're interested in, and maybe which fragrance you want me to see me review next. Are there summer fragrances and hot weather fragrances is still a big topic. So let me know if you want to see more videos like that. I certainly could oblige and help y'all out. I could make some more hot summer weather fragrance list, but I've already made a few videos regarding that. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if y'all would like any more videos like that. So Fritz says, I like the topic of heliotrope and how powdery fragrances can work. I could, that is an interesting idea, and I could make videos based on, there's people have already done it, videos based on certain notes, but I could try to mix in some education, some, what is it called, entertainment and education, some expectation. I don't even know the word, but I could try to do that for you, Fritz. That is a good idea, and I do try to share what I know and my thoughts and my feelings that make fragrances more understandable, because there's so many like terms and there's so many ways of looking at fragrance, and some people might not have the courage or the experience to like even go in their kitchen. Like I've talked about that before. Like if you don't have any experience with these notes, and if you care, some people just don't care and they just want to smell good. That's fine. But if you want to understand notes, one of the best things you can do is go in your kitchen. You know, there's black pepper. Why not get some black pepper, grate some fresh black pepper, put that in your hand and smell it, and see what that smells like. And even salt. You might say, "Oh, Ben, salt has no smell." Well, why not get that salty? Put it in your hand and also a little bit of water and let it dissolve in your skin a little bit. And that's some of the smell of your skin, perhaps, but that is kind of like how salt smells. There is a smell to salt, but it's soft. It's kind of nuanced. And then there's all the other spices. You probably have chili peppers or cayenne, or there's all kinds of spices and things that are probably in your kitchen. So that's a great way to start. Says, I just got Rococo Barocco joint, a vintage bitter green animalic I really love, but I can't compare it to anything. I don't know if I've tried that exactly. I'd have to look it up and refresh my memory. But if you like those kinds of fragrances, it is a little bit modern. It might be considered a little bit over blended and smooth to some. If you really do love those rough edges, it doesn't have. To me, it doesn't really have too much of the roughness, but check out Kenzo Jungle. Kenzo Jungle is an animalic, like hot, humid, foresty smelling. Like it has the smell like the Amazon rainforest kind of thing, but it's full bodied, and it also does have animalics as well. So that's awesome. Hope that you're enjoying that over there. Anybody else want to pop in and share what you wore and what you've been enjoying? So there's a new brand out there called Amoila Bifoli. Interesting bottles. Again, there's so many brands that pop in and out. I don't know when or if I'll be able to get my nose on them. There's a bunch of new like Artisan Parfumeur releases, which is pretty big news. There's one called Ode de la Oud, Fables d'Orient, Comte du Villon. My terrible French. What's the next one? Boise de Sable. It's probably Sablé. Anyways, yeah, those. I think they've used the word sables or Sablé before, but anyways, there's those look nice, and I'm sure there'll be interest, and I'm sure there will be reviews of that. There's a Mugler Angel Nova. I want to say I've heard that before. But maybe this is a new flanker. This is the EDT version. There's a new fragrance from Cartusia. It's been around for a while. I don't think everybody knows of the brand. It is a niche house, but I forget. But I think they make a really good fig fragrance. It's certainly worth looking into. Let me see here. Hey, Ben just got Saint John 3 AM Great Summer Banger in 1999. Hope you're well. Good to see you, Daver. Yeah, I've heard really good things about that 3 AM. I've heard that it maybe doesn't last very long, but I hear that it's a great citrus in the opening, and some people are really addicted to it, and some people have been really, really happy with that 3 AM. That's probably one I should buy, and it might be a great cheapie. Um, did you find it in a Ross or a TJ Maxx? I think I've heard people talking about that in the past. Fritz says I did get Jungle, but I think it went sour on the skin. It worked better for me on clothing. I think it has to do with I'm a smoker. I'm sure that that does change your skin chemistry, and I'm sure that that does have an effect on how fragrances change on your skin. It doesn't really go terribly sour or anything like that on my skin, but there's no doubt that's depending on how you eat and how oily your skin is. There's a bunch of factors. Again, I'd love to see testing done on how much skin chemistry really changes a fragrance. It's only a speculation, but I would guess it's only 20%, maybe 30% at most that skin changes a fragrance. And how it actually smells. But I could be completely wrong. It could be a lot more than that. So, Daver says yes, it's addicting. TJ, oh yeah, TJ Maxx, you found a good deal. Yeah, it's addicting for sure to want to go out there and get into fragrance and experience everything. There's so many fragrances, and y'all might think that I've smelled a lot or maybe smelled everything. And I used to think that I had my understanding, my head or my nose wrapped around everything. There's so much out there. It's like never ending. You can't keep up with all this stuff. There's some new Victoria's Secret fragrances. There's a new brand called Nukes, or I don't know how you're supposed to say it. There's a new Zadig and Voltaire. There was a This Is Him, and they made the This Is Her version. But I think those already existed. But This Is Her, and This Is Him, the Art for All. So they're like There's like two flankers. I don't know if they're just special edition art, or I don't know if the notes are really any different. So I'd have to compare and contrast. But the notes look good: grapefruit, cardamom, sandalwood, and vanilla. Might be simple, but that's a great note. That's a pretty good combo right there. So let me catch up with the chat. Let's see. Have you? No problem, Daver. That's awesome. Michael says, "Have you tried Mim by Vogue? I have. I know of no other fragrance quite like it. It's originality, quality, and totally unique. I've tried a couple from Vogue. I don't know if it was Mim. I'd have to double check. Maybe I can do that here. There's not really too many other new niche or new fragrances to talk about in general. There's a new brand that came out called Gigide. There's the Theophile, made a new fragrance. Diptyque might be one people are interested in. It's a vinagre. It's probably French. Vinage. Um, New diptyque Leo. New diptyque Citronelle and Geranium. And those are really the new releases that people might be paying attention to. So let me look up Vogue here. Let me try to attempt to refresh my memory. I definitely have tried the 07738. That's the first one that popped up. I want to say I've tried Mim, and I think I might have. I remember really wanting to buy Noon, but I think it was like a limited edition release, and I didn't really have the money or didn't want to fork out the money when it was available. And I think it was like Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Sebastian over there talked really, really highly about it. Noon, or Noun, and I never did blind buy it, but I always wanted to smell it. Vogue is a fascinating house. They are a good house. They are more vintage leaning. That's not a bad thing, but they are more classically inspired. For people who like really modern fragrances, they might smell more vintage or older, but they definitely have good quality and pretty darn good blending. I haven't smelled too many Vogues. I need to try more of them. I don't know which ones exactly are available. Let me go on Lucky Scent. Lucky Scent doesn't always have everything, but they're a good place to judge on what's commercially available from a house. So a lot of Vogues have come in and out, and if you don't move, it's one of those houses. If you don't move fast enough on one, it might not be around forever. So there's Lita, I Love YY, Declay. Two, the original Declay, the Mim, the OE, and the Mai. So I haven't tried Mai, and that has both. I think Mim and Mai have ylang, which honestly sometimes is scary to me. It's not a note I usually go for. So I don't know. I might have to try OE. I don't remember trying it. It has 5 stars out of 4 reviews. So OE might be one I have to try next. But nothing against Bogue, but the few that I've tried, it's a little bit rough for me. I'm not, I usually don't fragrances that for me. If they have a vintage inspiration, it has to be like a patchouli or maybe a tobacco. I usually don't go for those oak moss. I know a lot of people love that in the community, and that's what some people love and truly adore. Vintage oak mosses and chypras and the aldehydes. Some people truly adore that stuff. It's not generally for me, but I'm always willing to try it and explore it. That's for sure. So let's see. Let me catch up with the comments. But good, great comment there, Michael. Fritz says a friend sent me Boga Gardenia. Although I don't generally like white florals, I loved it. But it's $1,000 a bottle, impossible to find. Yeah, some of the Bogues are highly collectible. It's like the House of Slumber House. I mean, it's I repeat myself, but it's like the fragrance house of Slumber House, if that makes it easier to understand. And some of them are really coveted and really desirable. And then because you have to wait in line and they sell so fast and there's a limited supply, they already are expensive. But then once they get discontinued and there's people who are big connoisseurs, they'll pay crazy money. It's almost like the knife world. I also am into that hobby quite a bit, and you can be on a wait list and get a knife that costs, let's say, $400 or whatever. And once you get that in your hands, because other people are on the list for 1 or 2 years, they don't know if they'll ever get their knife. You can flip it. There's people who can flip it. And you can make it was 400 and sell it for 1,000. Is that ethical? Should you do that? Not really. I don't really think that's a good way to go about things. But with Vogue and some of these highly desirable brands, it's like Slumber House. It's kind of like how it is. That's kind of how life works. So, how do you say your name there? Is it Brokes or Bro? Bro Sense, good to see you pop in there, friend. I think you're in the South, if I remember right. You're in Louisiana, if I remember correctly. How's life treating you, my friend? I don't know. Are you a bayou guy? You live near the swamp. I do love the crawfish. I don't live too far away. And what are you guys? Or what are our scents of the day? I'm wearing Ginger Lover by Azzaro, testing them out. I just got them in today, so I decided to wear 2 instead of the whole collection. Or I mean, not collection, but I think it was 4 or 5 fragrances that I bought. And the other one, I'm testing the Guerlain Le Homme Ideal, the EDP, the cherry, the smoky cherry one. And I knew the performance wasn't going to be the strongest. Maybe it's my skin chemistry being bad, but its performance on it's pretty bad on my skin. So let's see. Ylang can make or break a fragrance. Yeah. Fritz the Cat, Ylang and Immortelle are some of the deal breakers. Not that I'll disregard or not try the fragrance or not wear the fragrance, but for me personally, Ylang and Immortelle, for my personal preferences, have ruined so many fragrances. It's just not something I personally enjoy. And all of us are funny. I've seen some people in FragCom and they don't like smelling like a dessert. So almost anything that has chocolate in it, which sometimes I really like that, they won't want to wear or try or have anything to do with anything that has chocolate in the fragrance. So we're all different. We're all different for sure. So Broke says, I'm in California, but I have a fam in Louisiana. Okay, maybe that's where I got that idea. I've seen some of your videos, and some of them look like they might be in Louisiana. So I'm wearing Mansara Wild Fruits. Oh, yeah, that's that's a good one right there. Mansara has some great fragrances. Yeah, I won't do it again, but you know that we usually talk about Cedroc Boisé I give a little bit of love to that fragrance over here. Anthony Concepcion says, "Shout out from Boston. Good to see you, my friend. How's it going over there? How's life treating you over there in Boston?" I don't think I've ever even visited Boston. I'd love to. Maybe you can give me a recommendation on where to go or what to do. Are they the ones that have the deep dish pizza? If I remember right, Philadelphia has the Philly cheesesteak, and Boston, I think, has the deep dish pizza. And they might be famous for something. I get some of those places mixed up. One of those big cities like that is famous for like sourdough bread, I think it is. So I'm in the Bay. Hey, Fritz. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, what do you recommend over there? So, anyways, let me double check here if there's any other new fragrances or any announcements for new fragrances. Again, for me personally, I'm still trying, and but I'm not a big enough fragrance reviewer to easily be able to afford all the new designer releases. So for me personally, I'm going to try to keep up as much as I can, but it's overwhelming. I'm sure y'all feel the same way. And we have, I don't know how many fragrances you have watching this live, but I have, my collection's growing. I have 70, 80, probably creeping up to 100. And I really don't want to have more than 100. To me, it's overwhelming. And I want to keep things fairly simple. I already have more than enough than I'll ever probably use or ever need. So, let's see if there's any other new fragrances. There's a new brand they're kind of trying to talk up. It's artisanal British house called Ffern. It's Ffern. They have a new one called Spring 21. I don't know how good it is or not, but it's supposed to be a really good citrus. There's the Sicilian leather that's already been out. So some people talking about that. I've never tried this brand. It's called Graham and Pot. They have a fragrance called Ruby Staple. I don't know much about that at all. Karl Lagerfeld has Boisé d'Ombre and Fleur de Té. I haven't tried either of those. I think those are new, are coming out. Karl Lagerfeld's often become discontinued and become pretty good, affordable fragrances for what they are. Let's see here. I think this is a Bleu de Chanel mist spray. I think Sauvage already did that, but I guess it's coming full circle. Y'all know that Sauvage kind of copied Bleu de Chanel. So now I guess Bleu de Chanel has decided to make a body spray version of their fragrance. I don't know. Do people demand that, or there must be a market for it? Somebody must buy something like that or enjoy something like that because they wouldn't produce it if people weren't willing to buy it. So I find that kind of corny. A lot of people in Fragcom don't want to spray an aerosol can on them, but somebody out there must be enjoying that. So, Centaur, you're thinking about coming out with your own fragrance line. You truly deserve it. Thank you, bro. Since I am trying to work on that, I've been trying to work on a soap company. I keep having delays. I don't have the most money in the world, but I am trying to work on that soap company. I'm going to try to get that out this year. But thank you. And then I'll try to work on a fragrance company. Again, I got lots of creativity and lots of ideas, but quality over quantity. Exactly. You got to do it right. You got to put your heart into it. It's got to have purpose. Again, I'm not trying to tear down other big fragrance reviewers, but some of them, sometimes I didn't see the story. Sometimes I didn't see the heart or the intention. And I'm not going to name names, but there's a number of them. I want to say more. There's more of them than less of them, where it seems like a company reached out to them and said, "Hey, here's this financial opportunity," and that's all fine and good, but I don't see the passion in the story. It's not something that it seemed like that was their intention or their desire from the beginning. And I always wanted to, when I see a fragrance, there's so many times where I see a fragrance, I'm like, this could be done differently, this could be twisted differently, and I smell a fragrance or a DNA. And I'm like, this could be made into this fragrance, which feels and smells like this. So anyways, great. Thank you all for saying that. Are you looking into buying Ross and Jason Curley scents? Oh, are you talking about George Zaharoff, those collaboration fragrances? Honestly, I don't have all the money in the world, so probably no, and I'm still trying to keep up with cheapies and make good content for y'all. I'm trying to, maybe buy a few fragrances that I know that I really, really want. I'd have to blind buy those. Um, Honestly, I don't know. George is super generous, so for all I know, I'm not asking, I'm not demanding, nothing like that. But he's so generous. For all I know, it's going to arrive at my door, and then I'll be able to review those collaborations from George. But I'm not asking for that. And George is way too generous. Y'all see him in the FradCom. He hands out stuff and puts and individually signs stuff, and he puts a lot of goodwill out there. So. I don't know. It's a lot of people. I'm a very funny individual. Some people get really excited about collaborations and stuff like that. If you really love a company or a brand like George's or whoever it is, and it's a collaboration with a creator that you like, you can be excited if you want to. But Jeremy Fragrance and Demi Rollins collaboration and a number of others, for me personally, I just haven't had too much interest, but Georges do look more. They do look more. I don't know, more well put together than some. I don't know, some that I've seen. So Anthony says, can you make a review of Molinard Figuier EDP versus Banana Republic 78 Vintage Green? I think I've tried 78 Vintage Green, but I haven't tried Molinard's Figuier EDP. So I don't have those fragrances in my collection. Maybe I can get them, but again, I wish I had all the money in the world to buy up this stuff and be able to just make a video for you like that on a whim. But I'll have to see when I can get around to maybe getting those. I think I've tried 78 Vintage Green. It was good, but I have other semi-green fragrances that like 10 a.m. Flirt by Kieran NYC. I have Rivellari from Fragranza and 70 Vintage Green. It's a fine, wearable, fresh green fragrance, but yeah, I don't know if it was my personal favorite. But I've heard really good things about the Molinard, so I probably need to get that. And I do like Fig from time to time. So great idea, Anthony. Thank you. I'll try to get on that. Pete Gallardo says Rome, New York is a house. Having a quality soap would be a game changer. Absolutely. I don't want to give out too much. It's often told that you're not supposed to say everything before you start, and I kind of gave a little bit too much information, and I don't want to blame people, but I felt like some of my ideas and some of my things were stolen previously when I talked about my fragrance company that I wanted to make, and I have lots of ideas, and I have another way to make another company that I wanted to do. So, but some of my ideas were already kind of taken, and I kind of presented my story and everything I wanted to do. And maybe somebody else thought this very similarly to me. I won't say who it is, but if you know, you know. And then the next day, that person announced their brand and what their story was behind their fragrance company. It was pretty much the exact same thing that I had said the day before. So I don't know. Maybe we think very similarly. Or again, I could try to fight. There's a lot of stuff, but I don't try to cause that drama. But that's another one. I could try to demand answers. I'm very familiar with Lush soaps. We need to make it bigger and better. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of smells and ingredients and quality, and there's a lot that doesn't go into soap. You can buy an average soap, but they're not high quality. They're not very natural, and you're not really getting experience that tells a story. And some people, it might not be for you. Some people you use soap to get clean, and that's all you need soap for. But I'm not exactly making it super artsy, like it has some story about somebody I don't know, like a knight saving a princess or anything like that. But soap that does have an energy or like a purpose behind it, with the smell and with the ingredients going into it, and where it's very good for you. So that's what we're going for, yes, in the future. So I can definitely make a lot better soap. I've already made better soap, way better soap than I've ever bought from anybody. And I've bought natural soaps from other people to test them and experience them. And that's how I really started to get a passion for natural soaps. And I mean, everything I've made is better than theirs. So I'm not trying to talk myself up too much, but I'm not lying. And I put so much thought and effort already into it. So you're very right, but you deserve it because you're a true, real reviewer. Thank you, bro. I do, bro. Broke sense. I do appreciate that. Yeah, it's. I'm not trying to tear people down. If you watch my channel, y'all, again, not everybody has to do individual fragrance reviews, but as far as like putting information out there for other people, there's very few people really doing it like I'm doing currently, and I'm not the originator of it. I didn't start it. There's so many other fragrance reviewers who have already done, and they have a legacy. And I've just been a part of it, so I can't take credit for everything, and I wouldn't want to. But there's not too many. There's Robes Away. There's the fragrance. I think this is called the Fragrance Titian. I forget. There's so many people out there, and I've been throwing out some lists, some shout out lists on my community page. So please check that out of new upcoming fragrance reviewers. I've done 2 of them so far, and I think that was like 40, 50 plus people, something like that. Shout out. So yeah, there's individual reviews. People are really starting to notice that the YouTube algorithm, it's an algorithm, and doing individual reviews of fragrances that are lesser known or less popular aren't really going to get you that momentum, and they're not really going to make you grow super fast. And of course, your goal, if you start a YouTube channel, probably is to grow, not maybe become a huge YouTuber, maybe not become wealthy or anything like that. But I mean, if you do want to get noticed, I mean, you do want to grow, and that's kind of like a part of being a YouTuber. So, individual fragrance reviewers have been really dying, and it's probably going to continue to be that way. And it's a sad thing, but I'm still doing it. I mean, I see the most value when I look to buy a fragrance, when I look to learn more about a fragrance. I don't watch a top 5 generally. It's a good introduction. It can put a new fragrance or something on your radar. They do have their purpose, and they can be helpful. But if I actually am considering buying a fragrance, I want to sit down, watch at least 5-10 minutes. And in the past, there were people in the past who'd be happily sit down for 20 minutes and watch a video of somebody they related to, and see if they wanted to buy that fragrance, and hear every single detail about that fragrance for like 20 minutes. But people don't do that anymore. YouTube has changed in general over time, and the FragCom has changed dramatically. So you got my support. Thank you, Fritz. I do appreciate that. Bro Sense says, yes, George is good, man, but you'll be blessed soon. You'll have your own. Stay striving. Thank you, Bro Sense. I do appreciate that. Again, I don't know if it's a bad thing to say, but I kind of feel, and I've kind of recognized it. It doesn't even bother me that I mean, I'm not even going to be able to keep up with people who started before me. There's been there's been dozens of people who have surpassed me in subscriber numbers. I don't know if YouTube doesn't like me doing individual reviews, and things like that. And I do top 5s and top 10s from time to time. I'm not trying to say that I don't, but I try to make them meaningful. It's a funny game, but I am happy with what I've achieved, and I'm happy with what we're doing. So that's what matters. If we're having fun, if we're creating making value or making a good experience and good memories, I mean, the numbers don't really matter that much. So Fritz Decat says George is awesome. Gave me a personal birthday code. Yeah, I mean, George is awesome. He's quite the generous guy. Who's George? Is that Mr. Smelly? No, George is George Zaharoff. He has his original fragrance. He has was it the original? There's the Noir. I think it's called the Signature, the one that had the apple, and then he's came out. So there was 3. There's the original, and then there was 2 that were essentially kind of like flankers. And then now he's made kind of these collaborations with these people. I think it's not a bad idea. It's actually a really good strategy. So I'm not criticizing George at all. With these, he's tapping or working, with these YouTubers with their audience will probably be excited with the with the fragrance. He's testing the water to see which DNA will work and which fragrances maybe he will want to actually permanently add. And that's it's something that's commonly done in a way in the world, and anything, limited editions are testing the water to see if if they're going to keep that production, if there's enough people excited or involved. It's testing the waters, testing the market, and he's being smart about it. So George knows what he's doing. He's not just saying, "Oh, here's a new fragrance. Who wants it?" He's working with people, and that's definitely a smart way to go about it. Fritz the Cat says, "I love bananas." Rep- Republicans, Republicans, vintage green. What? Wish it had better performance. Yeah, I know what you mean. Vintage green. You were talking about. We just talked about it a second ago. Banana Republic. I don't know where that came from. Let's see. George Zaharoff, Great Frags. Yeah, I haven't tried his new ones yet, but I'm looking forward to them. Matt says, "Have you tried Tree Marie Soapworks?" No, I have not. Those are some cool looking soaps. Not sure how good they are. Yeah, I'll have to try them and see if I can. I've tried a number of brands, and some people are making really high quality soaps that I think are worth the money. One of them is Saaf, Saaf. Their soaps come out of Turkey, and some of them have camel milk and donkey milk, and I think there's one that's like kefir soap. So those are not ingredients and things that you see very often, and they do have a real creamy lather, and they're a little bit soft for what they are. That it's a milk soap, but they're really nice. So there's a lot of soaps that are highly decorated, and they have special designs, and some of them are very cute. I've seen all kinds of soaps, everything that looks like cheesecake to a chocolate bar. I mean, there's so many soaps out there, but mine aren't really going to have a crazy presentation like that. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see. But it's more about the quality and the story. And I do have I think, a nice shape to mine. It's not your typical square shape exactly. Matt says George Zaharoff. Okay, yeah, he's okay. I think in all of our books. Michael says, Ben, I noticed that you are a big fan of Zafiro lately. Top notch fragrance, isn't it? Absolutely. You did notice that, Michael. You did notice. You got a good eye. That's actually one of the few times, and every once in a while, I'll do this on my fragrance channel where I'll make a second review of a fragrance. I rarely do that. Again, some people might do that, include a fragrance in a top 10 list, and that's how they share their enthusiasm or recommend a fragrance. Every once in a while, which I rarely do, I didn't re-upload a video. I actually made another review of that said fragrance. And I did that for Zafiro because I truly believe Zafiro by Xerjoff is one of their best. Some people really like Neo out there. Neo's great. Everybody knows Naxos. Naxos is certainly one of their best. There's Renaissance as well, which is pretty solid. But Zafiro is up there with them. Zafiro is great. It is a little bit of more of a Chypre fragrance, which is not for everybody, but it's a modern one. And it's one of Xerjoff's best. And people who like mass appealing, wearable fragrances, Zafiro is a great one. It's highly underrated, and that's why I made that review, because I want people to know about Zafiro. I want people to get samples. I'm not telling you to go out there and blind buy. Xerjoffs are expensive. I think they're a big commitment. All depends on how much money you got in your bank account, what you're willing to spend, and what you're willing to risk. But Zafiro is nice, especially if you like modern Chypres or citrus, or it doesn't really have a lot. It's not going to hit you with a really loud aldehydic floral or anything like that, but it does have a little bit of that touch or that feeling of what that Chypre element. But it's great. It's a great fragrance. Fritz DeCat says, I really contemplated starting a review channel, but everybody and their grandma has a frag channel, so I'm relying on you guys. Hey, Fritz, there's more love, more the merrier. We do need people joining the fragcom, and there's people who do it all the time, and there's people who come and go. Not everybody's going to stick around forever. I don't know how long I'll be doing this because it is a huge financial struggle for me. And I've showed y'all Roger Dove fragrances and Louis Vuitton and all kinds of other things. And I mean, it's not cheap. And some people think because you're a fragrance reviewer and because you got a few advertisements, you're making a lot of money. I mean, maybe the people who have 50,000 subs or 100,000 and they're getting lots of traffic, maybe they're able to, pay for their cost of their fragrances and more. But if you want to start out and if you want to, review more than what's in your collection and you want to buy fragrances intentionally, to review and keep that up and buy the next biggest designer fragrance and all that stuff, um, it's a lot financially. So I think it's true, and I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about that. As starting out a fragrance channel or just reviewing fragrances should be more of you just wanting to have fun and sharing what you know and share. We all have different knowledge and different experiences. Hey Fritz, you might have some knowledge, or you might love a fragrance or have some experience that none of us have seen or heard before, and you're going to help somebody out. You might not have the biggest fragrance channel like me. I don't have the biggest fragrance channel, but I think I'm helping people out. I think I'm putting good value forward. I definitely have the intent to help people and do my very best, and I think that's what matters. So, and you can find contentment in that. It's not all about the numbers, but YouTube does push that, and people have that attitude. You don't have to have that attitude. You can be happy with who you are and what you want. But YouTube does try to show that in your face. You get emails like here's your what was it, your monthly like numbers, and they'll tell you your numbers for the month. So essentially they're telling you this is what you did this month, and essentially like makes you want to think like what did you do last month and what could you do better. And and every time you upload a video it gives you the views. I mean, that's how it is. So let's see. I like the way individual reviews keep it up. I do too. I think that there's a lot of value from them, and I think that they're very beneficial. Fritz says donkey milk. Yeah, it's if you live in the Middle East, hearing about donkey milk soap might not be so uncommon. For somebody in the West, donkey milk soap is not something you're going to hear about every day. So yeah, donkey milk soap and camel milk soap. Rosen says, "Hey Sitar, I've been in Fragcom for about a year, and I see a lot of negativity and reviewers buying subs. I do see a lot of reviewers climb to the charts very high and very quickly." Yeah, I don't want to get too much into that, but there are some people who, they do have good lighting, they do have a good presentation and style, but there's some people who seem to grow way faster than they should. I don't know if they're actually buying subs. I've been very honest about this. I've gotten emailed plenty of times by people who have promised to give me not only organic, like real people traffic and help me if you pay them so much money, but like real subs and they're real people, and they promise you this. And I've never dealt with them, as you can tell. I've been reviewing for what, over 2 years now. All my numbers are organic. 100%. I don't know who's buying subs and who's not, but there's some people who seem to grow very, very quickly, more than they should. And there's been times, I won't get into it too much, but there's been a couple times where some of these reviewers have had fiascos and lost massive amounts of subs, and they shouldn't have been able to recover from that. Their channel should have been crippled or hurt at least for a long time. And the next couple days, they recovered just in a week or less. I won't get too much into that, but if you know in the history of some of these bigger channels or the biggest channel in the Fragcom, it's a mess. So yeah, I don't know what to say. There's ways. I probably shouldn't even say this, but I'm very honest with y'all. There's ways that you can buy traffic off of Google. I've never done it, but you're buying traffic, real Google traffic. You're not buying the subs. You're not buying the views. So it's essentially, when people will search things on Google, what if you get pushed to the top and people want to click on your video? So is that unethical or not? What is ethical and what's not ethical in that degree? I don't know. I've never done that before, but that certainly is something that they might be doing, and certainly would push your video or push your channel significantly. And I don't know how powerful that would be. and making you grow overnight, like an overnight success. But maybe that's what they're doing. So maybe they aren't buying the subs or buying the views. Maybe they're buying the Google traffic. So there's a lot more to this than just meets the eye, and I don't have all the answers on that either. So, but I do think that that could be something. That's another way that this stuff could be going on. So we won't focus too much on that. Brosit says so. Keep up the positive content. True Fragcom. Take care. Absolutely. Okay, you got to go. Well, good to see you, bro. Since and thank you for popping in. Do check out his channel. He does review fragrances. He's pretty down to earth, a pretty cool guy. Bridge to Cat says, at least you ahead of the game. We love you. Well, thank you, Fritz. I really do appreciate that. And so many people are here hanging out with me. That means the world to me. Me just having a couple fragrance friends and doing what I can. That's what it's all about. So. Matt Richardson says, I find that fragrance reviewers with less than 10K are much more interesting than big 10 reviewers than YouTubers who sound like a salesman. I do see your point there, Matt. Once you get to 10K or uh, especially like 100, you do tend to lose a little bit of perspective. And I'm not going to get religious or anything like that, but there is pride can get to anybody, and it makes you less relatable. But also, I mean, some of it isn't always their fault. Like, imagine if you had 100,000 subs. What if you were getting, I don't know, like let's say 2,000 comments a day on a video on your videos in total? You don't have the time every day. You'd have to spend your entire day sitting there responding to comments, and use your whole entire day just to give everybody a personal message and think about their comments. So yeah, if somebody's smaller, they have all their time to care about each person individually. I do wish that we had more time, but I do know what you're saying there. This they can you can kind of lose perspective, and instead of there's a whole different attitude or intention of becoming a bigger YouTuber than actually being passionate about your fragrances. You can try to do both of the same things, but if you are intending to growing, you're kind of trying to sell or get the attention of the masses instead of actually putting forward what you really care about and what you think is really matters. For me, somebody who's a successful YouTuber in general or content creator in general, outside of YouTube or doing whatever they do, they find a way to keep their originality, keep their personality, and also help people, sure, and all that, but they don't focus on just what's always super popular with trends. For example, compared to Hollywood, for example, a movie. You can make movies with cliches that everybody knows, that everybody gets emotional about, and that works every time. The proven method, and so many people watch it, and all these blockbusters have the same old cliches almost every time. But there's movies who have had personality, and who have done something different, and who have been so compelling with their personality and their and the art, and that they have essentially changed a history. And I do think that is the way to go. I do think so. So. Fritz DeCat says, "Yeah, honestly, honesty is paramount. I really got upset with many reviewers after they automatically seem to like every fragrance." Yeah, that kind of there's I've kind of addressed this before, but there's kind of two big things. It's not, and there is the getting the free bottles thing, which everybody knows about. If you do want to be fairly positive, if you are getting things for free, so people will possibly buy that fragrance, and then that company wants to give you more fragrances. I mean, that can be a motivation, but also people who become bigger fragrance reviewers, and I've talked about this before. You realize that being essentially a yes man to every fragrance is essentially going to make you grow more than being negative. So what I'm saying is, if I was to be positive about every fragrance, the people who already like that fragrance are going to watch my video and thumbs up my video and support my video, and there's going to be people who are looking to support that fragrance, or the people who want to see a review. They want to be excited about that, but that's why they watch that video. So being positive, and people's attitude towards positivity in general, that that's kind of a part of, I guess, cultures around the world now, that they want to see you be quote unquote positive and good, nice about things. Um, that's gonna make you get more views. But if you sit down and do a negative review about a video, people will click off your video because they sound boring, or maybe they've already know all they need to know. Maybe they generally thought your video was helpful and beneficial, but once they know that they're not going to buy it, or maybe they already know that they shouldn't buy the fragrance, or maybe they disagree with you, they're going to click off the video and they're not going to watch that video as much. So the bigger fragrance reviewers know that being positive and enthusiastic about fragrances in general, being more and more positive, is not only going to probably get them more products, but it's also going to get them more views. So it's both. And some people just focus on the freebies. And I've never been paid for fragrance reviews. I've never been given money for fragrance reviews. But I think it's more about the views than it is getting free products. And I don't know how much money does exchange hands, but the people who are that big enough to consider this and think about that, um, a couple free bottles, like people talk about, that's not enough motivation. That for that kind of attitude, it's got to be either money, or they know how the algorithm. And personally, I think it's more the algorithm, but who knows? Maybe there is a lot of money going on. So let's see here. Shows a lack of style. Yeah, yeah. Oh, George is in the house. Hey, George, we were talking about you. Good things, good things. George, sending some love. Ben, good to see you. I hope you're doing well over there. I'm doing good, George. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time, your very valuable time, with us. It's for me. It's getting closer, deeper into the night. We've been on here for over an hour. Still going strong. Good to see you, George. Hey, everybody, say hello to George. Thank you, Duncan, for your kind words. Yes, everybody. Hey there, Fritz. Yes. Pedagalo. I don't know what that means. Oh, you're saying hi. Yes. Positivity is infectious, but not always good in a great way. Positivity is good. Positivity is a good thing, but you got to have a balance. You got to have the yin yang. At least I feel like you have to. And I'm not saying that fragrance reviewers have to start making bad video or negative reviews of fragrances, but I do think that letting people know at least what you prefer and what are your favorite fragrances, I think that really gives at least people some perspective, even if you're not necessarily negative about any fragrances. So the people who I personally started watching less of their videos and caring less about their content with their channels is where, if I go to their channel and you don't have to make every single video or every couple of videos about your favorite fragrances or your favorite fragrance finds or your personal top 10 or whatever. But if I watch like a week or two of your channel and if I really don't know which fragrances that fragrance reviewer really loves, and their favorite fragrances and what they really like, and I don't understand maybe their personal style, and not everybody might be as particular as I am, but if you watch my channel, you know that I like tobaccos, I like leathers, I like coffees. You know that I can, depending on the blend, I can like an oud from time to time. You know that I like mint. You start to notice that I have certain preferences, and if I watch a fragrance content creator and I can't really tell what their preferences are, or even like styles with perfumers, like do they like lighter fragrances, or do they like fragrances that are more floral in general, or do they like woody or like whatever it is. If I can't tell like what they prefer, I mean like I mean, what are you doing with your fragrance channel? I mean, it's more of like a presentation channel, and that's where people start talking about the salesmanship comes in, and that's when I start losing interest. So I've tried to encourage more bigger fragrance reviewers to at least help people to connect to them, and they can be friendly and they can be courteous, and they really didn't. None of these bigger fragrance reviewers paid attention to me. They probably don't watch right now. They probably don't care right now. But if they want to be 100% authentic, I mean, you don't have to make negative reviews of fragrances and offends, people, and make them unsubscribe or never come back to your channel if you really dislike something. But at least let us know what are your favorites. And like if you have your really strong preferences with your style. If again, if you watch somebody and you watch a couple videos, or if you watch them for a month or whatever it is, and you just don't know what they really like or dislike. Anyways, I how can you trust them? How can you value their review? And when they say something's really good today and something's really good in a couple days, and they're like really impressed with that or this, how do you? It's like everything's a comparison, a contrast. It's like when I say something's amazing, if I say something's like a masterpiece or a 10 out of 10, I don't say that very often, and that means that's a big thing. But you know what I'm saying. I think y'all know what I'm saying. Uh, Fritz DeCat says, "I believe in yin yang." Yeah. I'm not getting into the religious aspect of it. I was just making that as a point. You do need some balance, and it helps. It. I don't even know what else I should say regarding that, but it does help give perspective and balance. And yeah, too much negativity is bad. Too much positivity is bad. And just like looking at issues, and again, it doesn't necessarily mean that the perfection's in the middle. It just means that you do need to balance things out, and consider all options, or consider what's actually valuable, or what's beneficial. Spark says, "What are the 10 out of 10 frags?" I might have to make a video about that. I don't know if I've ever said even 10 fragrances were 10 out of 10s. Jubilation 25 was one of them for me. That was a 10 out of 10. I'm trying to remember. I think I might have said Zafiro by Xerjoff is. There's I'm trying to remember. Look. I'm trying to look at my collection now and remember. I haven't said it about very many fragrances, and honestly, I probably forgotten which ones I've said about. I've only said it a couple times, so I'd have to look over my videos and then remember. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't said it in a while. So George says, I try to appreciate the fact that someone created it regardless if I like it or not. Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it, George. And again, everything is kind of art, or there at least there was some effort or some love or some energy or some passion. So it's good to see, it is good to look at the good. But and again, so that's kind of what I was kind of trying to say, George. It's not exactly judging the fragrance if it's good or bad, but maybe just talking about the preferences, like what do you prefer of the fragrance. And I know that some people have different feelings, and some people think that maybe we should say a fragrance is bad or good. And there are some fragrances who are created masterfully, and some that are maybe made less masterfully, and maybe the quality is better in some and less than in some. But yeah, there is value and merit in all fragrances, and I definitely see that. I talk about that with my motto: "Wear what you love." So, but yeah, definitely try to see, at least understand what the perfumer's intentions were. And that's another funny thing. Some reviewers don't really care to see what maybe the perfumer's intended, and sometimes they don't even read the description. And I'm not trying to criticize too much, but one of them that I personally found the funniest was Winter Palace, and by Memo, and they didn't read the story, and I didn't even need to read the story, because I understood what a Winter Palace was, because I'm a little bit of a history nerd. I'm not the biggest historian. I don't know dates too well, but I do know perspective and a lot of issues, and a lot of aspects of history. But anyways, A winter palace, or is essentially like a second home. It's it's referring to like ancient Asia, but essentially it's if it's cold where you live, it's winter. You travel somewhere else where it's warmer, so you don't have to deal with the cold weather. And some people didn't read the little story and didn't know that, and they were actually mad, and they actually criticized the fragrance and said it essentially was a bad fragrance because Winter's Palace was essentially a fresher fragrance that had this breezy kind of cool windy aspect to it. And I don't think Winter's Palace was the best fragrance ever, and the longevity could be better as well, but they definitely didn't understand the intention behind the fragrance, and they were expecting some kind of heavy gourmand, amber, rich, dark, wintry, heavy fragrance or something with crazy performance. And it's this light, fresh, cold, breezy fragrance. And it really surprised a lot of these people. So yeah, we definitely have to pay attention. I'm not perfect either. I'm sure that I didn't understand or didn't pay attention to the story or the nuance, but behind plenty of fragrances. So yeah, and that's one reason we're all different fragrance reviewers. Some stories and some messages might be more important, and some people might pay less or more attention to different aspects of fragrance reviewing. And I think that's a wonderful thing as well. So we definitely need more, I think, more fragrance reviewers. So let's see here. I try to appreciate the fact. Oh, I read that. Fritz says I can admit Baccarat Rouge. Baccarat Rouge 540, but I won't be wearing it. Yeah, Baccarat Rouge 540 is a great fragrance, but I agree. I personally couldn't wear it, but it is great. I personally believe it's a little bit more feminine, and some people, I don't know how many people in the Fragcom agree, but I do have talked to, and some of y'all have let me know in the comment section before that y'all feel the same way, that Baccarat Rouge 540 leans feminine to your preferences. But again, no limits. Anybody can wear anything, of course. Fragrance Trip says, I get what you're saying, but I ain't got no time for negative reviews unless it's something really hyped and it gets me views bashing it. Yeah, if it's kind of dramatic or kind of creates, you know, kind of is the complete opposite of what other people have been saying, yeah, that might get a lot of attention. I see exactly. Thank you for letting me know, Fragrance Trip. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's a negative review, people might stick around a little while to know why you think the way you do. They might, and they're pay enough attention just to see if they agree or they disagree with you. But then they don't, and that might take them 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes at most. If like my videos, if it's 10 minutes long, people aren't going to want to sit through another 6 minutes about my full with a full length review and all these little details of a fragrance that I think is bad and is not worth wearing or buying. I'm weird. I would watch I do watch negative reviews. I don't see many of them in Fracom anymore, but I have watched them, and I'll probably never buy that fragrance. I might test it or try it, but someday. But I'd still like to see somebody's thoughts. So let's see here. Fragrance Trip says, like Dior Sauvage, for example. I hate Dior Sauvage. Everybody knows I hate Dior Sauvage. Please stop wearing Dior Sauvage, people. I don't like it either. And see, I personally would be critical a little bit of Dior Sauvage. I don't think the blending's very good. Maybe it's my nose, maybe it's my skin, but the blending of that, it doesn't work. And how it transitions, and it's just not very harmonious, at least to me. George says, if something isn't your style, you say it. Is that considered negative? I don't think that's considered negative at all. I think that's just giving people perspective on your preferences. But see, some people are so touchy these days that you could say that you just don't. You could. I mean, you could be really nice about it. I've seen some people say they're like, I'm not a big fan of this certain note in the fragrance, because sometimes you might love the whole fragrance, but the certain note doesn't maybe transition, or it doesn't, maybe it's not blended as well, or smell a certain way that you prefer. And maybe the accord wasn't made really well. It could be a lot of different things. So I think that's a great way to go about it. But I've seen people who have done that and been really nice about it, and still people don't want to see that. People don't want to see you kind of nitpick even one aspect of the fragrance, especially if they like the fragrance. Heaven forbid it's a popular loved fragrance and there's a bunch of people who love it together and they're like, Team Sauvage or whatever it is. Heaven forbid if you criticize it. Fritz the cat says that's the sad part, George. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Kind of is. Fragrance Trip says no, but I like. I probably wouldn't just randomly take a fragrance that nobody cares about and make a video on how mediocre it is. It's just ignore that fragrance exists. Exactly. Yeah. See, that's kind of the thing, and that if you do make a fragrance channel, that's for you to decide. But y'all know me. I kind of review anything and everything, and even if it's lesser known, and and I don't even hype it up, I'll still make a review on it. And that's one reason why I'm not very big on YouTube. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Fritz Tripp says, I don't really know what fragrance started the talk. I just joined the stream. No problem. We're talking about anything and everything, Fragrance Trip. We've been talking about a couple different issues and topics and just having some fun. Earlier in the video, we talked about some newer fragrance releases, and y'all are free to make suggestions. We've been on here for over an hour. We'll see how strong the conversation goes on in this. We've had a lot of fun. It's been going pretty well, but you know, it is getting late, so we'll see how long it goes on. So, let's see here. But no problem. Please feel free to share your scent of the day. Any fragrances that you bought recently. What fragrances you want to see me review. What you would like to see different about my channel. Feel free to make recommendations. I'm here for you. Fritz DeCat says, personally, I love Memo Winter Palace. Makes me feel comfortable. It is comforting. It's a nice, well balanced, fresh fragrance, and then it has like a cooling wind. And I forget, does it have cardamom? It has I think it has cardamom, and I love cardamom. So Winter's Palace is nice. I do agree. I do wish the performance was a little bit better, but not bad at all. Price wise, it might be expensive for what it is, but it is a nice fragrance. Fritz, gonna start the negative review channel. I just take the weight off your shoulders, dude. I mean, hey, some people will watch you. Again, some people are so touchy. There's a certain fragrance reviewer who, for a while, actually was kind of critical of a lot of fragrances and was kind of infamous in Fragcom. He's not the biggest fragrance reviewer, but he's actually fairly successful and fairly big. And he kind of became famous for disliking most fragrances, especially designers. This guy dislikes or just didn't want to have anything to do with almost any designer fragrance. And more power to him if that's how he wants to roll. But he doesn't do it so much anymore. But he used to do that for a while. I don't know if that really helped him grow or not. But when you watched his channel, you knew that if he ever talked about a designer, probably didn't have something good to say about it. Fritz the cat says, I read that. Fragrance Trip says it's 4 a.m. in Eastern Europe, so it can't be that late in the U.S. For me, I am in the U.S. Central Time, and it's not the latest. It's 9, but I usually don't try not to stay up super late. I try to get in bed, but you know, some people think I should party. I really have never partied my whole life. So I'm usually in bed by 10, and I'm usually trying to go to sleep by 12. Sometimes you watch YouTube or whatever and keep yourself up. But I've never really intentionally partied or through the whole day and, went to sleep at, 6, 7, 8, 9, or I mean, 6, 7, 8 a.m. in the morning or something like that. I've never done anything wild like that before. So, anything else y'all want to ask? Let me see if there's any other fragrances. Did I mention Maison Martin Margiela has a new fragrance coming out called Autumn Vibes? Let's see if we can't find the notes. Y'all know that they made by the Fireplace. So this one has pink pepper, cardamom, nutmeg, carrot seed. If y'all aren't familiar with carrot seed, it's very musky. It's kind of like a cousin to ambrette. It's very musky. Carrot seed for me, I don't know how I describe it. It's not that it's vegetal, like a vegetable, but it does have kind of its own unique freshness. Ambrette is a little bit more musky and tends to be a little bit more animalic, but plays really, really well with iris. I see carrot seed used in fragrances where they want to give a little bit of freshness, and that's probably going to give it that autumn leaves, that like fresh, like woody aspect, and to the fragrance. So I can see what they're doing there. And then there's cedar, and then there's moss. So it looks nice. It doesn't have a lot of the sweet tobacco or gourmand vibes, but it still might be a good fragrance that people go for. So there's the new Imagination by Louis Vuitton. I think that I and talked really highly about it. Afternoon Swim by Louis Vuitton, and Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews did as well. And they got really hyped, and I think it's one of their best sellers, and maybe if not their top seller. The opening is beautiful to that fragrance. So Imagination, if you look at the notes, is very similar to, you know, Afternoon Swim. So Imagination, maybe it's just an improved version. They're not really saying it's a flanker, but in my heart of hearts, I kind of feel like it's an improved version or a flanker. And I don't know if they'll make more fragrances like that. We'll have to see. So, anyways, is there anything else that catches our eye? Again, the orchestra fragrances are pretty darn good, and there's a new one coming out called Ombre Cello. So if you can, maybe try to get a sample of that, give it a go, see if it works. Let's see if there's anything else that catches our eye real quick. There's a ton of fragrances from ILMN Parfums. I think that's a new brand coming out. They've released a whole collection. And Capsule Parfums, a whole new niche brand. They have a bunch of releases as well. Capsule, again, Parfums. Don't know when or if I'll be able to try any of that. So that's about it, guys. That's about all the fragrance news that I know of. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. Yeah. Well, hopefully you got to wind down and cool down and have a little chill out with and have a little bit of fun with us this evening. So try 8:15. Are you burning the candle on both ends? That's an old timey saying where you didn't even go to sleep yet. Three, you're not even asleep. Oh, that's 3:15. I almost saw 8:15. Anyways, you are staying up still. So Benjamin, do you watch a lot of your fellow brethren brethren on YouTube? I do watch. I do comment. Hopefully y'all see that, George. I do watch. I don't comment as heavily as I used to. There was a time where I watched almost every video, and I made it a mission to watch like every single video that came out from every single content creator that I ever knew of, and I would comment and do that for friendship and for goodwill. But I only watch the people who I kind of really trust, or the videos I really feel that are beneficial. Recently, with people doing less individual reviews and top tens, there's a couple top tens that are good, valuable here and there. But honestly, I've been less and less interested in other content creators' fragrance, content. A lot less and less of it, for me personally, has been relevant or helpful. Again, I'm a little bit of an odd person. Again, it's not that I've tried everything. It's that when somebody reviews or talks about a fragrance, I want it to be something I don't know of. Some people, again, especially with the algorithm, videos that of a fragrance that nobody knows about, never heard of. Some people might avoid that. I personally look for those kinds of videos. If somebody's talking about a fragrance I've never heard of or never seen of before, especially if they love that fragrance, I'm all for that, and I'm looking for it. I remember when somebody hyped up and talked really highly about Lignum Vitae by Beaufort London, and I actually got that fragrance and fairly recently, and they talked highly about it, and it sounded perfect, and it was something I was looking for, and I finally got it, and it's a dream come true for me, and it's something that I wanted. I never forgot about it. It took me like over a year to actually finally get the fragrance, but yeah, see, that guy took a risk. Um, I think it was Manny. What was it like? Imagine Sense. Is that how you say his channel? I don't even know if he's produces content uh, creates content or fragrance reviews anymore. But anyways, let's see. I do try to keep up though, and I definitely watch newer content creators, and I love their enthusiasm and seeing their newness and as they try new fragrances. And a lot of the people who are newer into the fragcom, they're willing to kind of review and try all kinds of random stuff out. And that's what that's what I kind of look for. So Benjamin read that. What are like some hidden gem fragrances? I definitely would recommend that you check out some of my videos regarding that. But Sensation by Guru was one that really impressed me, and I really spoke really highly about. I think it's better than Ultramall by Jean Paul Gaultier. It's kind of hard to find. At the time when I reviewed it, there was a small amount or a number of those fragrances that were available in Fragrantica. I don't know when or if or where you can get it. It's more of a Middle Eastern brand, Guru, Guru. And again, it's called Sensation, but that really was impressive. Again, I kind of love the hidden gems, and a lot of my collection, that's kind of like what I go for. I try to find the flanker that's really special for me. Um, it's might not be great for everybody. It's not super. It's still wearable. It's still mass appealing enough, but I'm happy that I got it. It's still out there before it got too expensive, but it might not be easy to find. It's Pi. I believe it's Pi Extreme. I'd have to let me see if I can look it up. It's the really famous Gavinci Pie, but it's I think it's Extreme. Gavinci Pie. Yeah, Gavinci Pie Extreme. That one's a hidden gem. There's so many hidden gems out there. I could try to make another I could try to make another video about that for y'all. Ones that have really impressed me. Um, you know, what was it called? Leather Supreme. Oh no, Supreme Leather by Polo is a real hidden gem in my opinion. Um, it never really became super cheap, and now because it's kind of getting, I think it's discontinued and the bottles are getting hard to get. You'd think it'd be getting cheaper. At one point, you could get it for 60, 70 odd dollars. Now it's kind of creeping up, and you kind of have to pay like $100 for it. I don't know. I don't think I'd pay $100 for it, but at $70, I was really happy with it. Um, let's see. I have four Maison. Hopefully, it answered your fragrance. I mean, your the question fragrance trip. Anyways, Fritz says I have four Mason frags. Music Festival is my favorite, but nobody talks about it. Yeah, some fragrances really underappreciated. From Maison Margiela, I really liked the Whispers in the Library and Across Sands. I think I've tried a lot of them, but that's a solid fragrance too. Music Festival, yeah, it's pretty underrated. That's for sure. It's pretty solid. Micah Christopher says hitting the 3K. You're absolutely right. I don't know what I can do or what we should do as a celebration, but it's been a long time coming. It's taken a while, but we're finally going to get there, and I am super grateful. I am super grateful for that. I really do appreciate it, and we're a family and we're together for sure. So. Fritz the Cat says not really. It's an old school patchouli. Um, Micah asking about the the leaf. Manny still grinds. Okay, Manny does. I might be getting them mixed up. There's no, they're friends. There's Manny and it was Timmy. I think I was talking about Timmy. I think it was Timmy who talked about Beaufort London's Lignum Vitae. But yeah, both of those guys were pretty cool. I need to check out their channels if they're still creating content. I need to double check on their channels. It's been a little bit. Honestly, it's probably been a while since I've watched them. I've come back to their channels here and there, but George says some channels have stopped putting out content, which is unfortunate. Yeah, people come and go. People get busy. People have other priorities. I'm not sure. I'm sure everybody has a story. I don't know everybody's story behind why they stopped creating channels. I mean, fragrance content. If somebody has to go, that's fine, and everything. But I do wish that they would say goodbye. I do wish that they would let us, kind of send us off, give some well wishes, tell us about their next story, their next passion, where they're going in life, and head off to their next big goal or their dream or their whatever they care about. So yeah, it's it is sometimes sad, but sometimes I feel like it's not always an. I'm not saying you feel it's that way, but it's not always a negative. So I'm not saying that you say that, George, but yeah, sometimes we do miss them. So I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't be too sad, but yeah, it's kind of. I do think it's really sad when they disappear without. I mean, without explanation. That's for sure. Fritz says nerds hype up, but mostly hippie patchouli. I don't know. Maybe it's true. I don't know. Micah says I miss Katie most. Oh, Puckrick. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. She stopped. I don't know how long she really reviewed fragrances, but she. I mean, she's a legend. I think she was the first. Was she the first, or she was one of the first who ever started reviewing? And yeah, she's pretty darn awesome. She has a lot of personality. She was really spunky, and yeah, she could have been a legend if she would. I don't know why she quit, but if she would have kept going at it, she was. I mean, she was the kind of person who deserved or should have been, where Jeremy Fragrance is at. I mean, I don't know her story. She's another one of those who I wish was still around. There's a guy. He's called That Fragrance. I thought he was really awesome. I'll never forget him. He was a guy who I really liked watching before right right before I started a channel. Back in the day, I watched a lot of people. Some of the legends, but Coach Rob 619. I think he came back and made a little bit of content. I don't know if he keeps up with it. I'll have to double check. But Coach Rob 619 was a legend in my eyes. When I first started, I listened to everything he said. So Lenny Smith was great, but doesn't do too much. Yeah, Lenny, he's a cool guy. He's a gentleman. You can tell he's got refinement and character, but yeah, he doesn't review too much anymore. I think he's. I think I am sub to him. I think he just shows his sense of the day, and he just takes things real casually, and that's all fine and good. Yeah, I mean, this takes a lot of effort. Everybody might not want to review fragrances for years, and maybe he doesn't need more fragrances or doesn't want to spend more money into fragrances, or maybe he feels content where he is, and there's all kinds of who knows. We all think in different ways. So um, that's for he was Lanier Smith though. He's cool. He's cool for sure. Fragrance Trip says, "Have you tried any Mona de Oreo?" Honestly, I don't think I have yet. They've been on my list to try, but I don't think I have yet. You say, "Oh, their vetiver fragrance is a 10 out of 10." And nobody ever talks about. Yeah, there's so many fragrances out there, and see that's the thing. All of us only have so much time and so much money, and that's why we need other fragrance reviewers who are actually reviewing fragrances. And it's fine to do top tens and all that, but if you do a top tens and you're only talking about popular designer fragrances, I mean, sure that works with the algorithm, and who knows at the you we might feel like the market or the YouTube is highly oversaturated with all these kinds of videos, but algorithm wise, with how many people are watching this, the market, I guess the viewership is really going to determine what is saturated or not. I'm sure that this is going to doing top tens of the most popular designer fragrances. Um, Even if there were less designer releases of fragrances every year, I'm sure that it would be so popular that they would continue doing it. And I don't know how long it would be sustainable, but they would keep doing it for a long time. But that's kind of how it is. But if people are going to really play the top 10 game and all that, it would be nice if they did mix in, some fragrances that they genuinely found and genuinely liked on their own time. And when people talk about being bought out, that is one of the things I would bring up in that discussion is who's exploring odd brands and actually buying samples and actually exploring those fragrances, um, instead of talking about you know some of these brands. Sometimes we know they give out free stuff, so he still pops in and out in and out. Yeah, that's for sure. I got a full Gautier Is that how you say it? Two, musk and amber. Who knew them notes would go well together? Yeah, that's sometimes you never know. How are you? Good to see you, Callie. Callie's Groom Room. I'm doing pretty good. Kind of slowing down here, kind of wrapping up, but doing pretty good over here. What's your scent of the day, my friend? And how's life been treating you? What's good? Fritz the Cat says, "How are you, Callie? Do you have a channel?" I think he, yeah, he does. I almost forgot. Yeah, check him out. For sure, he does a little bit of everything. Some guys like to mix in a little bit of shaving and men's like health and men's style into their fragrance content. Um, so yeah, he covers a little bit of everything. So, anyways, any other topics or any? I think we've addressed a lot of topics. I think we've maybe gotten a lot of things out that need to be talked about and need to be said, perhaps. Awesome Ben says the day is coconut nanas. Rirania is another good house. That fragrance is. I've heard some people talk about it pretty highly, especially on Instagram. And again, I'm pretty active on Instagram. Feel free to everybody to check me out on Instagram. I have completely different content than I have here on YouTube, and I put out usually about 2 videos a day, or 2 posts a day, I should say. Verano Cherry on Top is a really good niche fragrance, and it's actually one of the best niche fragrance or one of the best fragrances I found this year. And I probably should have saved my money instead of buying that Guerlain. I probably should have saved my money and put it towards that cherry fragrance, the cherry on top, by Verania. Anyways, yeah, pretty solid house. Coconut Nanas is pretty darn good. A great summer fragrance. If you love fun in the sun, tropical fragrances for sure. Doug says, "Hi Ben. Been a while since I caught one of your lives. Good to see you, Doug. It's been a little while. Maybe being on here late helped you out and find me. I got on here a little bit late. Again, somehow I had that a little bit of a mind forgetfulness, and then I remembered. I said, "Oh goodness, I'm supposed to be on live," and I almost forgot. But Fritz Cat says, I do have a channel. We focus on all things men's grooming with a lot of focus on fragrance. Absolutely. He's a cool guy. Check him out. Since I got, good to see you, Doug. What's been on your mind? What fragrances have you bought recently, Doug? Which fragrances have y'all been interested in? Um, 2 fragrances that I am going to try to buy in the future are, I talked about it a little bit, I think, last week or the week before, is Scotch Pete by Stranger's Perfumery. A really rich, almost boozy, earthy fragrance. Really intense. Some people might say masculine. Has some little smoky nuances. I really love it. It's the kind of fragrance that I look for. So that one was beautiful. That really impressed me. I definitely want to have that in the collection. And the other one, I don't know why I want it. It's more of something that I would wear, a little bit more of an everyday fragrance. But it's called Istanbul by Gallivant. A lot of people from the Gallivant House of Gallivant. I'm trying to refresh in my memory and look up their fragrances real quick. They talk really highly about. I think it's Brooklyn, and I've seen a lot of love for Los Angeles. But for me, for the one, I don't think I've tried their newer ones. I don't think I've tried Tel Aviv or Tokyo yet. But Istanbul was the best by far, and I really do want to have that in the collection. From the House of Gallivant, it's very wearable. It's kind of full bodied. It's to me, it's what I look for. It's the kind of thing that I would like to wear for more of an everyday fragrance. Um, and to me, it's great. It really impressed me. Let's see. Let me catch up with the comments. Um, Sounds great. My wife got Sud Pacific bananas. It smells like Hawaiian tropics. That's awesome. That's really fun. That brand is actually pretty affordable. Is actually pretty underrated as well. Their fragrance from that Sud Pacifique, they have that vanille apricot or apricot, and that was pretty sweet. Some ladies might feel it's a little bit maybe juvenile, or but that really impressed me for a lady's fragrance. It is again, it's a little bit sweet and maybe girly, but that's one of the better fragrances I smelled. It's not fancy, it's not elegant or anything like that, but it was still for an everyday fragrance for the price. It was pretty good, and something you probably would a lady would get compliments on. So, have you tried the new fragrances from Gallagher? I'd have to Google what those are. I don't think I have though. I tried Wicked Good. I knew that that was one of their newer fragrances, but I'm not sure which if they've come out with some even more even newer fragrances. So let's see here. Let me see if there's any new fragrances in particular. Um, 20. They're really is it new? Are there any new? Are they just announced, or did they come out recently? I tried Perfecto. I've tried Rose all day. Um, is there one in particular that you're asking of? Perfecto is nice. I think a lot of people would like it. It's. I think I've made a review of it. I think I've mentioned it before, but I'll try to get a review out of it for y'all. It's a pretty darn solid fragrance. It's not exactly for me with my preferences, but it's a solid fragrance. Perfecto is good. Um, New Gallagher's not doing much in the way of fragrances. I've been concentrating on my health lately. That's awesome. It's definitely good to focus on your health, and I hope that you're staying healthy and doing good out there. Scent of the day was happy. Was it a Happy Land fragrance, or was it Clinique Happy? As I think they're the ones who make it. Yeah, that's a nice fresh fragrance. I hope that you're doing well, Doug. Callie's Groom Room says, "Oh, Vert by Gallagher. It's dropping on May 12th." Oh, I haven't tried that, and I definitely don't have early access. I definitely don't have friendship or connections with Gallagher that they've sent me the samples early or a bottle or anything like that. I definitely don't have anything like that going on. So we'll have to see when or if I can even get a sample of Eau Vert. Uh, Probably a vetiver fragrance. We'll have to see, but probably. Fragrance Trip says, I don't know how I missed that. I tried Evergreen Dream, Wicked Good, and Amongst Waves, and I love all of them. Yeah, Gallagher fragrances are pretty solid. They're a pretty darn good quality, but they do have somewhat of a not a mass appeal exactly, but a I don't know, that kind of wearability to them. It's kind of hard to say. So they it's kind of in that middle ground. They have enough blending and enough of a sensibility to them to be wearable and likable to most people. But some of their fragrances, especially they're really patchouli, and some of them do have some stronger notes that really have some character and that really punch out of the fragrance. So I think that they strike a good balance. Gallagher fragrant, and I think he's trying to make really strong, long-lasting fragrances that are wearable and will appeal to people who perhaps like a little bit of something interesting to the fragrance. And with synthetics, nothing's wrong with synthetics. And in the past, some people have not thought that his fragrances maybe transition or maybe didn't like his fragrances as much, but he's really improved Gallagher fragrances, and I'd love to see what he can do in the future. So really patchouli, if you like chocolatey patchouli, that stuff is crazy. If you like a fresh, interesting rose fragrance, that's would be great for dates and has a unique sensuality about it. Rose all day is nice too. If you like the idea of pear and you haven't found a long lasting pear or a pear that's maybe you want something a little bit more unique but not too unique, Perfecto is pretty good. So, Doug, hopefully you're doing good out there. Yeah, that's hit some people pretty hard, and I hope that you're recovering and doing well. Have you had like I don't want to get too personal here, but have you had like health complications because of it or something like that? I had a grandpa this is YouTube, and I don't even know what you can see on YouTube or not, but he got the old jab, and he already had quite a few health issues, but there were complications, and yeah, it can be rough. There's definitely you know there's definitely people struggling for sure. Kelly Guru says, I don't have any connections either. I've just subscribed to their newsletter. Yeah. I wasn't trying to accuse you, Kelly's Guru. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was just saying for the people who asked if I've tried it yet. It's like I wish that I'd smelled it, but no, I definitely don't have early access to it. So Kelly's let's see here. Fritz the Cat says sorry to hear that Doug. Yeah. We're here for you, man. It says tomorrow is right around the corner. Absolutely, we'll pull through. We'll pull through. Fragrance Trip says I'm not really into patchouli, and I really don't like rose. Oh, Fragrance Trip. Well, those two aren't probably for you at all. You more like moss, lavender, vetiver, citrus. Oh, okay. So you'd really like some Italian fragrances. Then you really like that citrus, lavender. Yeah, maybe a little bit of spice, something like that mixed in there. There's a lot of good fragrances out there for you. That's nice. Anyways, any other questions for me? Any more thoughts? We've been on here for a while. I see that 13 people are here. Thank you for loving and thank you for being here. I do see 11 thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. Again, I don't know how much that does help the channel, but supposedly that does help the channel. So thank you for all that. I didn't even ask, but that's a wonderful thing. I really do appreciate that. Let's see here. I spent a month on the ventilator. Oh goodness, that's a nightmare right there. Last July, now dealing. Oh goodness. I hope that you pull through, man. We're here for you, definitely. So, sounds like Chiron on Pour Homme. Yes, absolutely. Chiron has some strong releases too. Yeah, Italian colognes and the French Fougères are what I'm all about. Absolutely, there's some good ones out there. I mentioned Cartuja. You might want to look at some of the Cartuja fragrances. They have some nice ones, that's for sure. Callie's Groom Room says no. Oh, okay. I'm always too self-conscious, Callie's Groom Room, so don't mind me. But Ben Gancio says still waiting for my Orza. We'll update when I get. Yeah, sometimes again with what's going on in the world, delays can be crazy for some things. So yeah, the wait game is real. Fritz the Cat says Aqua de Parma Colonia. Oh yes, probably my favorite. Yeah, that's definitely a strong. Is that Italian? It kind of feels Italian to me, at least. Yeah, that's a strong release right there. That's a good one. And you could dive into the world of Aqua de Parma and all their releases. They got some good ones. The Intensa was that there's an Absolutia. I saw that there was a Futuria as well. I've never tried the Futuria, and I don't remember seeing anybody talk about it. But there's the Aqua de Parma Colonia. I think it's Futuria, and I don't really know what it's about. See, that's the thing. I probably need to. I'm sure maybe somebody's already done a review of it. I just don't remember ever seeing anybody talk about it. So, Fragrance Trip says, Doug, yeah, that's bad. I pulled through like 3 days, minor symptoms. Yeah, if you have pre-existing conditions or who knows, different people get affected differently, and some people have a really tough time. I'm a funny guy. I usually just have to rest. I think I got it from a package sometime earlier this year. It was like March or May or something, and I just had to sleep it off for like 3 days, and I was able to pull through. But yeah, some people aren't so lucky. So, anyways, any other questions or thoughts? And again, there's 14 people here. Let me know what kind of videos y'all want to see. If there's any improvements or any changes y'all like to see, I always want to know if y'all want to see how much editing y'all want to see, or if y'all really want intros or music. I've been considering doing that, starting that back up again, editing intro or music. I'm always curious about what y'all want. So. The Futuria is like Allure Homme Sport kind of thing done. Aqua de Parma, just riding the hype of Aventus Cologne. You ain't missing. Okay, maybe that's why nobody talked about it. Yeah, that I'm glad I didn't blind buy it. I might have been disappointed. So thanks for letting me know. It doesn't sound bad. I'm sure they did a pretty good job of it, but yeah, that's not very creative, is it? Fritz. Yeah, man. You think of making your own fragrance? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've like even like 6 months ago or more, I've written down, I don't know, 30 plus, maybe 50, uh, compositions. I'm one of those people. Some people have money and they lack creativity. I have creativity but lack the money. So I can't make the fragrances or bring them to you. So again, I'm trying to work up to that point so I can do that in the future. But it'll be fun when we get there. All there's some people say that everything's been done. There's a whole lot in the world that hasn't been done. Ingredients and styles. There's a lot in the fragrance world that has not been done. Most fragrances try to ride hype and what's popular at the moment, and they try to kind of do spin-offs of what people currently like in a certain trend in like a certain era or a decade. There's so much out there, um, so much potential, and we haven't even began to see what there is, and that's kind of the strange thing because then you see so many brands, and then you get overwhelmed by how many releases there are, and a lot of these brands aren't exactly creative, but I mean they still do something. So that's the thing, and that's one reason we need reviewers who are rating and maybe talking about which fragrances are creative, which ones are not, because how are you going to sift through all these hundreds of thousands of fragrances? There's hundreds, there's thousands. Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about like another four brands that just popped up, and who knows if they're gimmicky brands, and who knows how long they'll be around, and who knows if they're any good. But like four or five brand new companies, and there's probably more of them with 10, like who know, like one of them had 10 fragrances, and there's a lot more out there than that. Great question. It's decent, but still, Chanel did the best from the start. Yeah, yeah. Got to go from the original. There's no need for Versace, Creed, Acqua di Parma, or anyone else to redo it. Yeah, so sometimes the original is the best, but then other brands want to make the money. They want to take a little piece of that pie, as they say. They want to take that opportunity, and that's what they go for. And they know what's popular at the moment, what's trendy, what people like. So, yeah, I definitely see that. Um, Doug, I almost missed your comment there. Two comments. Fritz says Naxos Fiero is beautiful Italian style cologne with great longevity. Absolutely, I've heard some of those are pretty strong releases from the Casa Maratti line. I think isn't that where Fiero comes from? The Casa Maratti line, Italian. I think that they're like a smaller company or a sister company to was it you talking about Naxos, which is Zherzov. Casamarati is Tenzion Terenzi, if I remember right, with Casamarati. Doug says, thanks, Fragrance Trip. I'm right. I'm still upright and breathing. So I'm going to take, oh, absolutely. Take your time, man. Take your health and don't push yourself, but take things a step and get in that good mindset. Get in that good mindset and see the little improvements that you're making. And we're here for you, man. You're going to make it. Fragrance Trip says it's. I read that. Yeah, crowdfunding will work. I've heard that. I've never tried that. Maybe we should. If there's enough people who would like to, crowdfund. I've never tried that. I don't know if it would work, but that would be really great. I'd love to be able to do that. So, but I don't know if again I'm still not a great. I'm not the biggest fragrance content creator. Um, I don't know how many people would get involved. So, Callie's Groom says, Ben, you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love your approach and all the details. I'm glad that you like that. Again, that's one reason I started my channel. I wanted to start helping people learn about notes and where they came from and how they were part of fragrances. I wanted to help people understand the value, of perspective about if a fragrance was worth it or not. And again, we can only do our own reviews with our own opinions, but those are some of the biggest things why I started a channel, and I'm glad that that makes a difference. I'm glad that that's helpful because that's definitely something that I wanted to see, when I was watching other fragrance reviewers, I that's something that I wanted to see. And again, everybody might not think the same as you. Not everybody thinks the same way I do. I've seen a fairly big content creator. I don't think that they were trying to attack me or anything, but they might have been influenced by me talking about value. And I won't even say who it is or what kind of brand they like, but they do like a certain brand. But they said that you shouldn't evaluate or judge a fragrance by how much it cost, and to them, the price of a fragrance was completely irrelevant. And in a fragrance review, so they judged all fragrances equally outside of price, and that's one reason that they like this brand so much, even though it's not the most expensive brand. And they like the style and the history and everything regarding this brand. One reason why they hated designers a lot, and so many other fragrances, because they didn't care for what those fragrances did, and again, price wasn't a factor in their mindset. So, but thank you, Callie's Groomer. I appreciate that. Ben says, I don't know how these fragrance reviewers can afford thousands of bottles of fragrances. Most people live on budgets. I know that I do. I'm not trying to cry river or tell a sob story. And I actually put way too much money into this, and I put maybe too much time into fragrances. But yeah, I feel like there's fragrance reviewers, even though I share expensive niche and a lot of things do too much, but some of these fragrance reviewers, I don't know how they get the spread. Like, every new designer fragrance, they got it all. And even designer fragrance wise, it adds up. I mean, especially if you're paying full retail, when those fragrances first come out, a lot of designer fragrances are 80, 90. Now they're more than that. There's some designer fragrances coming out, and they're showing the full 3.4 ounces. Some of those are 100, 110 US dollars a bottle. And, and then they're doing top 10s with all these new designers. And I'm just like, oof, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. Let's see. Truth, it hasn't. No. Yeah, there's a lot of room in the Fragcom. It just might not seem that way because, again, YouTube is an algorithm. It's based on momentum. So you would have to find a niche for people who are, if you do want to get big. You really would have to have your personality. You'd have to put your personality out there and find a way to put a different spin on the fragrance game. If you're just doing individual fragrance reviews like me, and I don't know, maybe I don't have enough personality, or I don't know what it is, but you might not. It might take you. I mean, you probably won't be. I mean, you'll have a fun time, but won't be able to compete with these people who are playing with the top 10s, and who knows how. There's some of these people, I don't know how they're growing as fast as they are. It looks like they shouldn't be growing as fast as they are. So, have you got any suggestions for pine fragrances? I'd have to get back and look at individual fragrances. One of my favorites is Amber Del Sur. It's not focused on that note exclusively. It's more of like a golden, like a dry pine smell, but Amber Del Sur by Carta Barcelona does have that smell. It's actually one of my favorites. It doesn't exactly smell like pine. It smells like aspen trees, but aspen is a very affordable classic. Some people really like it. I don't know how picky you are or how deep you are into fragrances, but Cody Aspen, I think it is. It's still a nice fragrance. If you're looking for something that's green, in particular, there's Dryad by Papillon, which I feel like is highly underrated. If you do like green fragrances, I feel like Dryad by fragrances. I'm not sure if that's exactly even made anymore, but it was one of the best and still one of the best green fragrances I've ever tried. It's not exactly a pine fragrance either. Again, I'd have to look that up another time for you. But if you do, it is somewhat similar. It's called Cowboy Grass by Diaz and Durga. I think you would like that. Cowboy Grass is pretty darn good. But you got some fragrances in that style. You want to still can't find anything that's an upgrade. Hey, if Bottega Veneta does it for you, it does it for you, and that's good. Cape Heartache seems to be the best one, but I can't do strawberry. Yeah, there's some other fragrances out there that are fresh and green and crisp, but don't really have that sweet strawberry. If you want to message me on Instagram, I can probably spend a little bit of time thinking. It's just late, and I can't remember anything else with pine. I'll probably after this live remember something that has pine, and I'll kick myself. But Amber Del Sur doesn't really focus on the green pine, but it does have it. So, Tamela Walker says, just thought teach courses and workshop to recognize notes and scents. I could try that. I don't know if that would be ethical or not. Again, I do have the attitude, and I do want to be an educator. Even when I was going through college, I saw textbooks and I saw tests and I saw the teachers were teaching, and it's not because I wanted to be bratty or because I wanted to act like I knew more than a professor, but there is, understanding people and how people think. There's a lot better ways that people can teach things, and I've always had an educator like mind. So I don't know if I should do that, but I guess I'll give it some thought. But I don't know. Again, I just maybe I should take a risk and do this stuff and see what works or not. But you know, I would love to do that. But again, there's already people who train people and give free advice to perfumers, and that's good and wonderful. I don't know if people want to pay money for that. Most people who want to learn about individual notes and want to learn about the uses of notes and fragrance ingredients are usually aiming to become perfumers, and they're usually wanting to learn from somebody who already has experience as with perfumery. So I'm not there yet, but yeah, if people, there are some people who are perfumers who do workshops who train people to make fragrances or just teach a course and help somebody make rather simple but still effective individual fragrance. And so they take a workshop and then they learn about fragrances and a little bit more, and then they get their own fragrance that they kind of got to choose components and kind of make something that's their own, and they can say that that's their own personal fragrance. And I do think that's a good thing. I've seen people do that out there, but yeah. Anyways, Callie's Groom Room says top tens are a lot to make, but there's more of a personal connection and a standalone fragrance review. I do agree that you could be more personal and relate to a person more in an individual fragrance review. Top 10 reviews aren't heartless, and they can be, again, they're not bad, and they have their purpose, and they can be helpful, but I agree. You're definitely going to see more personality. You're going to learn more, and you're going to get more details out of an actual fragrance review. But again, so many people just want to hear the bare basics, and they want to buy off hype, or they want to hear something exciting. And some people, maybe don't want to focus on one fragrance review or don't want to sit through a whole fragrance review. I've had somebody tell me that they won't sit through a fragrance review no matter how good it is. If it's longer than 5 minutes, they're gone. No matter how good it is. After 5 minutes, they don't want to hear more about one fragrance anymore. So, yeah, there's people like that are watching top tens. They want to hear 30 seconds or 1 minute about a fragrance, and then they're on to the next one. So, imagine having a review channel and being a student in a country where average monthly salary is €300. Yeah, that'd be really tough. Yeah, and imagine that. That'd be really tough. That's for sure. You definitely would have to work with what's around you, with your economy, with what's value. Definitely couldn't be buying, fragrances like this. Grim Ripper says, "Keep going, Ben. I know you're going into debt badly. I've actually avoided debt. I'm not. I'm not in debt right now. I did get into debt at one point in the past, but I've gotten out of that. Don't go nuts. Make sure you have a plan. Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing. Don't trying to keep up with the Joneses and if you're trying to make it as a YouTuber and thinking, some people think that everybody's becoming wealthy. There are people who are becoming wealthy through YouTube. But, if you're trying to buy really, especially niche, obscure, even if you're buying popular designer fragrances, and that is one way to get lots of views, to get review that new designer fragrance that gets lots of eyes and lots of attention, and those companies are putting out tons of advertising. if you're able to be one of the first people or the first person to review that fragrance, that's a big deal. I don't think I've ever been able to do that besides Polo. What was that, Polo Green Cologne Intense? And there wasn't a lot of hype, and I don't think that there was really a lot of advertising behind that fragrance. But I think I was the first person on YouTube to review that fragrance. I think that's might be the only time I've ever done that before. But yeah, don't unless you're at a position or you have enough money where you. And if you feel like you want to compete with some of the bigger people, yeah, don't be putting yourself into debt over that. Nobody agrees, but Club Daily Intense is just fine for me. No, it's great. Have you seen my review recently of Club de Nuit Intense Parfum? I actually pretty highly of it. I don't know if you saw that review, Fritz. I don't remember if you've commented. If you did, please forgive me. So Ben Cancillo says, I have Perfumum Aromas Urso, and it's supposed to be pine, but it gets all burned wood, so I never wear it. It reminds me of when a part of my house burned. Oh, that's a bad memory. If you have a bad memory with the fragrance and a bad experience with it, you could always try to sell it. But yeah, I don't remember Arso. I talked about a couple from aromas, but I don't think I've talked about that one. But I'm sad to see that one didn't work for you. Some Perfumum aromas are risky. They're not all mass appealing, that's for sure. Some of them are a little bit risky. Fritz DeCat says, I've had my eyes on Arco for quite a bit, but I've tried Trees, Please from Living Libations, natural company from Canada. No, I haven't tried the brand at all. I don't know much about them, honestly. Best coniferous frag I've ever had. Okay. Ben, what's going on, bud? Good to see you, Johan Rivera. Good to see you pop in here. We are pulling kind of late. It's getting late for me. We'll have to see how much longer we'll be on here. But good to see you. We already talked about new upcoming fragrances, and we've had a pretty nice discussion. If you have any fragrances that you're into or anything you bought or anything that you want to talk about fragrance, just let us know. But we probably are wrapping this up. So try to find a Yosh Kobe. I will have to look into that. Let's see. Yosh Amazing Niche Pine. Yeah, I see it. I didn't know that, but I was just going to say there must be an actual niche fragrance that focuses on pine. There must be one, but I just couldn't remember or I didn't know. Fragrance Strips is 1,000 views in Serbia are $0.8. So I'm basically just doing it out of passion, usually just reviewing what I have and doing regular swaps and local fragrance trips. Yeah, Fragrance Trip. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I'm not making minimum wage. I'm not breaking even, and I put 2 years into this. And if you're thinking of starting a fragrance channel, look at my channel. Look how many videos I've made. Consider that I've put out almost 800 videos at this point. I've been one of the hardest working. I don't want to brag about myself, but as far as I know, I might have not been around the longest as some people have. Some people have been in fragrance reviewing much longer for many more years than I have. But consistency and how much content as fast as I put it out, I personally don't know of anybody who has. There is Joy Amin as well. Joy Amin's crazy. Joy Amin is super dedicated and hardworking as well. But I mean, I've put in the dedication as well. So if just consistency and putting out regular content, there was a while for almost a year straight. I put almost a video out every day. That's just the number of content. Even if you're using tags like I do, which some people almost consider a sin in FragCom, that's still not going to make you grow. That's still not really going to work magic for you, unless maybe my content's really that bad, or maybe YouTube really doesn't like me that much. I don't know. So. But yeah, I'm not even breaking even, not even close to what I've put into this channel. If this fragrance channel could have paid for this camera and this microphone, I'd be lucky if I got close to doing that at this point. Uh, see here. Sell me your Arso. Yes, definitely do a swap or a trade and help each other out if you can. That's awesome. Sometimes all it takes is one video to go viral, just right place, right time. Supposedly, sometimes you can have a wonder video that goes crazy. I've heard stories. I mean, I've seen videos that happen like that. Honestly, I don't know of any in Fragcom like that. I don't know if anybody who's done something like that, but who knows? We'll have to see. Do you have a favorite house, Barley or Initio? Both are pretty good houses. With Initio, I really like Rehab. I want the performance to be better, but I think Rehab's really nice. My but Side Effect's really good. Side Effect has been growing on me. I might end up liking Side Effect more than I do Rehab. Both are great, but Side Effect has way better performance. Parfums de Marley is a pretty solid house. I think Carlisle is really great, also really unisex. Lady Carlisle would be a stunning. Leighton's as good as people say. I can see why it's hyped. I can see why it's loved. It's as good as people say. Is it still kind of expensive for what it is? I think it is still a little bit too expensive. But Leighton's still great. They reformulated the Leighton exclusive, so that's one reason I no longer talk about it. They reformulated it and they ruined the Leighton exclusive. There have been some exclusives from Parfums de Marley. I need to try the Pegasus exclusive. It might be really good. I'm looking forward to the day that hopefully, they do the hair exclusive. I would be really. That's actually one of the few fragrances I'd be excited about. If they made a darker, more complex version of Harrod, and I love tobacco, I might be really into that. But Hobdon's probably my favorite. Hobdon has this like soapy aspect to it. It has rose, it has saffron. It's more Middle Eastern for sure, and I really like it. It brings you that like soapy, spiced, fancy kind of like rose oud combo, but also makes it more wearable in its own way. With that Parfums de Marley, almost like cinnamon apple vanilla thing in the background a little bit. So let's see here. Johan says, "You and Joy Amin are my favorite fragrance reviewers, and I try to share some of my fragrances to get people aboard the train." I really do appreciate that, Johan. And yeah, Joy Amin is prolific. Joy Amin works like a dog, and he's I mean, he's doing it. It's like you can't talk bad about Joy Amin and his work ethic, man. He's crazy. Matt, Ben, your Facebook link isn't working for me. Is it still active? I haven't used my Facebook in a while. I'll have to check it out. I'm much more active on Instagram. I like Instagram much better. I find more friends. I connect to more people. One reason I stopped really using Facebook, and I think my group is still active. I'd have to double check, but it might not be anymore. Is because, and again, it's fine that other people share themselves, but I had everybody coming into my group, and it was my personal group. It's one thing if you make a general, fragrance friends or fragrance family group, but this was the Centaur fragrance group, and it's fine if people do that every once in a while, like share a video, especially if it's a particularly important video, like if somebody's starting a channel or somebody has a special message, or every once a week or something, somebody just wants to share a video of their channel. But there were people who every single day were posting their videos in my group, and people weren't really getting as involved. There were some great people there and a lot of good friends, and I probably should say sorry or do something about that. But I eventually started like blocking or limiting these people, and every single time I got on the group, I just spent like 30 minutes removing. And the thing is, I probably would have let them do that, but people didn't even comment on my videos, didn't even interact when I posted in my own group in my own Facebook group with my own video. Not like they were liking or commenting there. It's not like they were supporting me on YouTube. And it rubbed me. That's one reason I stopped it. It really rubbed me the wrong way. And then one person actually got offended because the first time I actually just a couple people and I told them why I was going to like limit their videos, and one person got offended. And I was actually trying to be nice. I was like really being really nice about it. and then they wouldn't even listen to me. They acted like I'd singled them out. This person has stopped fragrance reviewing a long time ago, but they acted like I personally singled them out, and I didn't even feel like I wanted to have to prove myself that wasn't the case. But anyways, yeah, it was, and why I mentioned that little story is because Facebook is a world of drama, at least in my experience, and almost there's good people there, there's good experiences all the time, but there's so many people in the Facebook world and the YouTube. I'm in the Facebook fragrance world, and you say just the little wrong thing, or somebody's gossiping about it. I just want to avoid that whole scene. There's so many people backbiting or saying terrible things about other people or making like trashy little memes, and I don't want to get into that. So, anyways, hopefully they answered your big question, Matt. Fragrance Trip says, well, since Demi's bigger than Robes Await now, the only thing you need for success seems to be great looks. Yeah, I won't get into that too much, but a couple lives ago, so there was an upcoming fragrance reviewer. I can't remember her name right now, but she didn't. I don't think. I think she had barely passed 2,000 subs, and I think she'd been started reviewing fragrances for 8 months or so. I looked at her channel, and she made a public kind of video to the fragrance community. Essentially said she was quitting the fragrance community because of that kind of stuff, and she was getting a lot of support in her channel, and she wasn't willing to wear low cut shirts, and she wanted to be involved with a community who wasn't really like it is now. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, but yeah, again, 90% of people who wear fragrance are just average people. 95% or more of people who are and they're buying fragrances at the mall, and when they're coming to YouTube, they're not really coming to be informed as much. They want to know what's attractive. They want to know what to wear on a date. They want to know what they can wear at the office. They want to know how fragrance can make them, get some panties or whatever, and that's why they come to YouTube. And I do love our community, and I do love that we're together. But sometimes we think that we are the fragrance community, and I mean, I guess we are, but we're kind of in the minority. We're I don't know, percentage wise, we're a lot less than we think we are. And that's one reason there's people like Jeremy, watching people like Jeremy Fragrance, is because a lot of people want, to be told what's good, what's bad, and what they should buy by somebody who has, this presentation and a certain look and a certain style and the wealth and that kind of sting and kind of. So I won't try to get too much into that, but yeah, it's I think that's pretty ridiculous. Demi should not be bigger than Rose. Not by a long shot. Not even close. Johan says, yeah, Side Effect is a monster. Yeah, Side Effect. That I was kind of suspicious. I really liked Rehab, and Rehab gave me like 5-6 hours. And I wore Side Effect, and I was like, I kind of like this. And I was suspicious about the longevity, but it really, Side Effect really performed really well. And I was like, whoa, I was actually really happy about that. As well as Oud for Greatness. Yeah, I'm not really for Oud for Greatness, but if you want a fragrance that can get you into something that's Oud-like and more wearable, and it might be good for you. Oud for Greatness has very little to almost nothing to do with real natural oud. For me, which is a huge negative, especially considering the price. But some people find it so fancy and find it so wearable, especially when a lot of people want a very more fragrance that's oud-like. So that's a huge positive. But if you really want to understand oud or like oud or appreciate anything that's oud-like, Oud for Greatness might not do that for you. So I'm actually amazed, and I've been one of the very few people that's been very vocal about it. I'm actually amazed that more people who know about real natural oud, maybe people who are from the Middle East, are critical of Oud for Greatness, because it has this look, and how Initio talks about it, and how other people in the fragrance community talk about it, is essentially the best oud fragrance ever when it has little to nothing to do with it. So, but it's not a bad fragrance. It's not bad. It's just not really much of a oud fragrance. So we all appreciate what you're doing. And oh yeah, I do appreciate that, Fritz. I really changed my name on YouTube. No real reason. Hey, no problem. Reason, but my name is Duncan. Nice to meet. Oh, nice to meet you. Oh, no problem at all. Okay, that you used to be Duncan. Okay, thanks for all that you do. Gotta sign off. Oh, good night, Tamela. Thank you for popping in. I probably need to go as well. We've been on here for over 2 hours. I need to go as well. We've had a really good discussion. This might be my longest live on here ever. Ben Cancio, it's hard for me to wear designer frag now. Right now it's mostly Ambroxan. A lot of them are Ambroxan or Tonka heavy or amber wood. A lot of them rely on that and very mass appealing. A lot of people tend to like it or even compliment it. But if you understand fragrances and if you want something creative or unique or better, yeah, that can really kind of ruin designers for you, because a lot of them do depend on that kind of base. Fragrance Trip says, "Gotta go, mate." Okay, yeah, it's 5 a.m. for you. That's late. It's getting later for me too. So I think we'll close this out tonight. Have a beautiful night, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. As you'll know, as I always say, cook something good up. Have a good time. Be with friends and family. If you can't do that, if you're still under lockdown or anything like that, Skype them. Try to connect with your friends and family and still have somewhat of a social interaction. You came here. This was a bit of a social interaction, but still try to stay connected with those you care about or those who your friends are involved with. And before you go, I've been having discussions with a few friends of mine and Fragcom. Did you have something you wanted to ask or say real quick, Johan? But you consider Guerlain niche or designer? Oh yeah, those are always big discussions especially because they did make fashion, and some people consider a company as a designer or niche house depending if they made fashion or not. I like to judge a fragrance not based on something like if they've made fashion or not. To me, it's really what the intention is behind the fragrance. Some people get really super focused on designer versus niche. I really look at it is it mass appealing? Is it meant to appeal to a majority of people? Is that the intent? Is that the purpose? Or is the fragrance meant to be more unique or creative in style and maybe the quality and the creativity? So that's how I try to look at it. Some people really want to, judge a fragrance or categorize, and I think it's so common, and I even did it for a while, and I still use those terms from time to time. But when looking at a fragrance, there's some designers that are definitely blended and more strange or more harder to wear, and I think that's an easier way to look at it. But again, a lot of designers are made to be wearable to the masses. And niche, again, you can't just judge niche off that either, because some niche is made to be wearable to everybody and everybody. Some niche is made to be weird, and some niche is something in between. So you can't just judge it based on how expensive it is or just because it comes from a certain company. Different companies, certain brands will throw out all kinds of different releases. And it doesn't necessarily have to do anything with fashion. There's all kinds of companies that make designer like mass appealing everybody fragrances that still don't have anything to do with fashion. Most fragrance companies in the past who started making fragrances for the masses in the past would generally, did they start with fashion, or did they was perfume a side project of a fashion or a makeup or some company like that? Yeah, generally in the past that was the case. But is it always the case then and now? Not always. So I try to get away from those terms. Anyways, that's kind of a non-answer. What I would say, if you had to force it to choose as Guerlain, as niche or designer, I would say that in the past they were niche. I would say that they're currently I know that they still sell their fragrances in boutiques. Know that they still have their high end niche fragrances. Tonka Imperial is gorgeous. I still want a bottle of that, but I don't know where they're sold. I don't know how often they're sold. And they made their Aqua Allegoria line, and they made their Guerlain Les Hommes line, and I honestly don't know where. They're kind of like a mix of the two, which is almost another non-answer. But I kind of say that they've become a little bit more focused on mass appealing, but they're not completely. I don't think they've lost their heritage. I don't think they've lost their character. They still release some high end niche fragrances from time to time, but I'm not sure because they've been releasing more and more designer fragrances that have wearable, easy to understand, simple, maybe not very long lasting. I like that Guerlain Les Hommes IDL EDP, that smoky cherry, but the performance is terrible on it. But I like it. But some people might think smoky cherry is unique. It's a little bit different, but it's not terribly creative, especially with its blending and how it transitions on the skin or something like that. Guerlain they don't make crappy clothing. Yeah, see, I don't like. In my mind, I wouldn't judge a company based on if they made clothing or not. Honestly, this po Southern boy ain't never walked into a Guerlain store, ain't never seen Guerlain clothes, and I don't know when I will. Uh, I didn't for if a year or two ago, if you would have told me the Guerlain doesn't make clothes, I might have believed you. I don't know. Again, when I was raised, I didn't even know what these companies were. I'd never seen anybody or heard of anybody wearing Dior, Guerlain, Fendi, any of this stuff. So, anyways, a great answer, Ben. Thank you for your time. Yes, I would probably in the past I would say niche. Now, if you forced me, I'd say designer. But Guerlain's great, and I'd focus on judging, each fragrance or kind of the trend on where it's going, because again, fragrance brands can come and go, they can change and develop. So I'll wear some Eros Flame, but I'll never wear Versace's ugly clothes. I don't know much about Versace's clothes. I know that they have their black and gold with that Medusa head, and that they the tons of Medusa heads on them, and they look kind of shiny. I don't know. Are Versace clothes made out of silk or something? I don't even know. But Eros Flame is nice. Anyways, I've never worn Versace clothes. I definitely cannot afford them. So even if I wanted to, maybe one of these days I'll have something fancy like that. But I got some Tommy Bahama flip flops. I spoiled myself my last birthday. That's about the most fancy luxury item I probably ever had. So, anyways, have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Hope that you had a few good laughs. I hope that you had a good time. And I hope that you learned something new. We dived a little bit deep today. This is a little bit of a deep time. And again, hopefully I didn't come through as tired or anything like that, but I'm a little bit tired. But have a beautiful weekend, everybody. If you want to say goodbye really quick. But yes, DJ. Oh, DJ, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you as well. How have you been doing? Good to see you. Hope that you're doing all right out there and staying safe and all that good stuff. So, DJ, I'll see you soon. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. And keep on smelling great. Keep on wearing and finding those fragrances that you love. Again, I upload Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you do like fragrance content and you want to see more of me throughout the week, I have my Instagram very active. Got a whole new, more content for you if you want to jump on the world of Instagram. And not to mention that if you like video games, find me on Twitch, Jimmy Jam Jim, and I'll play some video games with you. So let's see. Fritz the Cat says, seems like Guerlain is trying to keep up with the times. Yeah, they are. They see things like Bleu de Chanel, Dior Sauvage. They want to have a winner. And no doubt about it. They see all the money on the table and all the money that's been made. And Guerlain says, And we could have made that Sauvage. I mean, some people think about heritage and they think that that would have hurt their brand. These people are companies and they give people what they want. And Guerlain probably wishes that they would have made the Sauvage. They probably wish that they did. Do I like Sauvage? No, but Guerlain probably wishes they did so they'd have that money. Keep up with the times, but would be better keeping things classy. What they do best. Yeah, I agree. I think they should, but they probably want to do a mix of the two, so they can, be popular to the masses. They want to sell stuff in the local mall. They don't want to just be at the fancy boutiques. They want to be everything. They want to do everything. They want to sell to everybody. So, anyways, have a good weekend, everybody. Stay well, live well, and smell great. And I'll smell you later. And see you soon, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.